You come back to the next tournament. You 3-0 Falcons. Now you come back here. You fight real hard. You beat him again. What changed there? Was that you? Blitz said you could almost lift as much as him in the gym now as well. So, was this a personal improvement? Was this a team improvement?
那其实之前的话 ，Team Liquid 的状态一直有所起伏，然后在 EWC 上的话，你们也是输给了 Falcons。当时你在退场的采访的时候说过你很不甘心，然后后面的比赛你们3-0战胜了对手，今天的话又是2-1带走了 Falcons。我想问问 Nisha， 今天到底有发生了什么样的改变？而且我们也听说你现在能够在健身房里举的重量比你们教练 Blizz 还要重了，这是你的改变吗？
I think in EWC we kind of choked, so I was a little frustrated because the expectations were a bit higher. And we won 3-0 in like boot camp. It was very chill. The scrims were good, so we were just like kind of comfort. And now we're back to like lower bracket, so I don't know what's gonna happen, to be honest.
我们之前的话，其实，在 EWC 也是没有发挥得很好。我们觉得我们自己还是打得太紧张了。然后之前3-0的话，当时在集训的时候心态比较放松，但是现在又来到了国际邀请赛的败者组。说实话，我也不知道后面会发生什么。
All right, well, I got some bad news for you. If you lost this series, you would have got 8th place, which means that you would have gotten all the placings from 1 to 13. So many internationals, so much history. I gotta ask, does playing the international in front of a crowd like this still mean something to you?
我要告诉你一个坏的消息啊！如果你刚才输掉这场比赛的话，你就能够收集的 TI 历史上第1名到最后13名的一个全制霸了。我想问一下，在这么多年 TI 之后啊，你在这样舞台面对这样的观众去打我们国际邀请赛的比赛，还会在心态上有什么不一样吗？
Yeah, for sure. Like having crowd here is like a different game even. Energy is nice, and it's like nice to see who you're playing for. And yeah, I didn't get all the medals for the placements, but I cannot complain.
确实，每年在国际邀请赛，在观众面前打比赛都会有不一样的能量，非常感谢大家。然后我确实也比较可惜吧，没有拿到这个全排名制霸的一个成就，但是我觉得这并不重要，我们还要接下来继续努力。
I do have one more. I'm sorry. They said I had to end it, but I've been waiting for this time for years, and this is the most ripped I've ever seen you. Can I please just get one fight? Please, please. The audience wants it so bad. I'm begging you. I'm begging.
现场的
Come on!
想不想看到你上
Just one! Whoa! That's my boy!
All right. 感谢你上，我们把剩下的时间回到我们的分析。
What?
I didn't see it.
We got half a flex. No, no. They need to win again to get the full flex. You know, we got to tease the audience. We can't give them everything after one interview.
Oh my god.
I know.
That's unfortunate. What a showing in this game as well. We talked about that draft after it was done. Like, did Liquid sacrifice too much to get for their draft integrity? And it turned out, Winter, that they sacrificed just the right amount in this game.
Yeah, just the right amount, but there were times in the game where we were worried for them. We were looking at the game, it felt like they were not really in control. Like Falcons they were in control. Like at the start of the game, they had a couple of really, really nice fights. They were taking control of the map. They were doing really well, but a couple of slip-ups just made the game, I want to say, close to impossible, you know, because you're playing against a Faceless Void. You know that Lifesteal can't really fight against a Faceless Void in the late game, and every small little mistake you make is just going to compound.
I mean, that's literally the story of this game. Like, in a single game, your entire tournament life is on the line. When you look towards Liquid, it doesn't matter how many mistakes you make, right? Like, Viper can just Viper strike the Lifesteal. Now he can't really do much. And then you got Chrono, you got Stampede to disengage, you got Nisha going 10, 5, and 17, buying Dagon on Alina, just getting kills left and right. Like, the Falcons, like, every spell has to connect, and unfortunately it just wasn't really working out. The initiations from the clock to the Sand King, where people were on the map, it wasn't always on the same page as you see here in this highlight reel, where, you know, Liquid, you know, they were able to, you know, do much better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They did hit most of those.
It was the most awkward fight I probably watched today, actually.
Yeah.
This was real symphony of skills.
Yeah, no,
It really was.
Yeah, we'll see it on YouTube later tonight, but it was a great fight, guys. Probably the best fight of TI.
No, it was definitely unique, and I think it's a fight that shows the pressure that goes into a game like this, where with elimination on the line, both teams maybe a little bit shaky in their position.
Yeah, I think this is why I love the Faceless Void. It's a hero where it will win when you reach a certain point in the game. And I don't think a lot of teams are able to keep the composure needed to overcome that, right? It's like all Liquid needs to do is just not feed, and they win. And with Falcons, they hit this timer of Dagger on Malrine, and they start playing like we saw top. They do that little like TP rotation. When Liquid start going on them, they get a good trade. But they're not able to get enough. When you have Blink, you want to kill everyone.
Yeah.
And they were not. They were going like even or less. It's just not enough.
It was a really rough game for Team Falcons as they hereby take their leave from the international. The defending champions are no more, and they were so close to playing their 800 games on stage or together with the five of them. Stuck at 799 now. And for some final words, we're heading over to Crit.
Yeah, thanks indeed. I am here with Crit from Falcons. Crit, tough break on going out there. We're all sorry to see you guys go out. It's not usual that you see Falcons against Liquid in a lower bracket elimination game like this. Does that speak to the standard and the difficulty this year?
在败者组 Team Falcons 对战 Team Liquid 其实是很罕见的，这种重量级的对战是不是能证明今年的比赛特别的激烈？
Yeah, I think it's very obvious that all 8 teams that were in the playoffs were able to beat each other, and we had 2 close series, and we were fortunate to lose out. But at the end of the day, we just didn't really hit our best, and yeah, that's what it took for this tournament.
That was your 799th game together as a 5. Talk to me about what it's been like playing with these guys, how fantastic it's been, and what a great group of lads they are.
对，说明了这淘汰赛的8支队伍都是实力非常接近的，谁都有机会打败谁。最后我们没有打到自己最好的状态，也就这样了。但是也是打了2场很竞争、很激烈的比赛。
Yeah, I mean, it's 3 years. It's a long time. A lot of memories. We had mixed results, but at the end of the day, we accomplished what we wanted last year. We were hoping to defend it this year, and it was a very hard tournament for us. I think everyone tried their best, and sometimes it just doesn't. It's not meant to be. So unfortunate, but we'll move on, and I'm sure everyone's gonna be able to watch us against in the next few tournaments, and there will be another TI next year.
这支队伍一起打了鸡排99场比赛，是非常了不起的一个成就。然后想问一下 Crit， 就是有什么可以跟我们分享的？其实我们一起打了3年多，是非常之久的。然后我们去年也达到了自己想要的目标，很可惜今年没有达到自己想要的卫冕冠军。但是呢，我相信在未来的几个比赛里，还是能看到我们的身影。 然后明年还有 TI。
And final thought, Crit. Is there anything you'd like to say to the fans, especially here in Shanghai, that have been supporting you guys and cheering for you guys, not just at this TI, but throughout the season?
最后感想，有没有什么想对现场或者家里的粉丝说？不只是支持了这个 TI， 也是过往历届支持你们的粉丝。
Yeah, I mean, it's always special. Last time I was here in 2019, it was also special. For me, this is probably the last TI. I'm happy to do it here. It's always amazing to be in China, but fans all around the world always cheering. It's a special thing to be at TI, and I'm gonna miss it. It's been a lot of TIs at this point, and yeah, it's been a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure watching you as well, Crit. Thank you.
上一次进来打 TI 上海已经是2019年了，也非常荣幸能回到上海打这一届的 TI。很可惜，这可能是我最后的一届 TI 了。非常荣幸可以站在这个舞台上，也感谢大家的支持。
I think the pleasure has been all ours. This was Crit's 10th international, and he said that there probably is not another one for him in store. A lot of weight with those words, Rhea.
I don't want to lose a player like Crit in the scene. I wish I could watch him at every TI to come. I think he's a wonderful 4. I think he brings a lot of... I don't know. He's like... For how cool and calm he is as a person, I think he's so expressive with how he plays Dota. It's very beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, not only
Oh,
that, it's
God.
just like the idea of like what Falcons and Crit has been able to achieve, right? Since their inception back in like 2024, it's like they dominated the scene then. They, of course, won last TI. This year maybe didn't go their way, but it's like they are the most decorated 5-man stack. They played the most games as a 5-man stack for Dota history. Like, what they've done in 3 years will be on our minds for like the rest of Dota, right? Like, they have done so much within such a short span, and that is testament to the experience of Crit, what he's been able to achieve, and all the other players, right? So if Crit isn't to play next TI and it's going to be a different Falcons roster, they've done a great job. So again, props to all of them.
And he's changed the game so much with like position for like what can you do on your role. I think he was one of the few players that started like maybe with Jerax to get the roaming position for and what can you do in the game. I think it was really amazing all those years watching his gameplay and gonna miss it.
A lasting impact from a Crit, and of course a lasting impact here from this iteration potentially of Team Falcons. But eliminations are part of the game. Team Liquid is the team that moves forward, and we'll see them again in the lower bracket. But take a deep breath. You can rest assured eliminations are done for the day. That is a heavy heart that we had here this morning. But now it is time for upper brackets to make some great Dota coming your way. We're going to have Team Spirit and Vision on the stage very, very soon. This was only the first half of the day. Yes, it was a long one. Only halfway. There's much more to come. Natty and her team will take you through that second half of the day. And to get you started on Vision versus Spirit, we're going to hear some words from Yotoro and Laurel.
Start group stage was good, and we lost 2 games. We saying okay, we a bit, not struggling. I have some problems with picks, also with how we play, not only drafts, how we play, but make decision in game. So we guys to chill.
The first game was against Xtreme. It was quite easy. We just won 2-0, no problem about it. Then we played against Aurora, I would say, and also games was pretty easy, pretty easy drafts, pretty easy to play. Then we met Liquid. Against them, a bit harder games. We won 2-1. They're a good team, I would say. And we messed up some drafts.
Then we play against Team Vision, and it just happens we don't understand power of some heroes. They really play good.
After this game, we realized a lot. I would say we lost them 0-2.
Then we play against Nigma. Also, we have maybe not our best strategies. We just feel not tired, just playing bad in this day. I cannot say much.
And we played against Team Resilience the next day. It was pretty easy games, but we made a lot of mistakes, I would say, at games and second game. And we crashed out. The second game was, and we lost this map. After that, we played third game. It was pretty chill, pretty easy game like the first one, and we just won them.
We're happy that we go to playoffs and we can play on arena stage with viewers. It's always different between group stage and playoffs. Everyone plays different. It's just real game begins, I guess. Always, we viewers and people who cheering for you or hate. I don't know. It's always good just to be there and play against the best teams and beat them. It's sad when you lose, but it is what it is. You just think about happy way. Just you come, you need to show your best. That's all, and it's always great to play on stage.
The TI for me, the best tournament of the year for sure. Way more ahead of other ones, any tournament ESL, Wallachia, blah blah blah. It doesn't matter. Depending of the TI, because it's the biggest tournament. You feel it by every part of tournament, stage, group stage. You see the faces of your opponents. They're nervous, unreal. You can watch the pressure of the games. Every game is cinematic. Absolute cinema, every game, and you just like to play in this scenery, and you like to play against these opponents. So I would say just the best tournament of the year, and we didn't play it like 2 years in a row at the playoff. So I like we finally came back.
Day 2 of TI-15 main stage continues. We've had the heartbreak of a double elimination that we're saying goodbye to both Falcons and Ironwing. But we move on to greener pastures, much more enjoyable things. We're looking towards the upper bracket, and joining me for this one is none other than Insania, Effie, and Quinn themselves. Effie, how are you feeling for day number 2?
I mean, I'm feeling good. A little bit sad, of course, when teams are eliminated, especially ones with veteran players such as Falcons. It's always a little bit bittersweet, but it's time to root out who's the best from the best, and I'm excited to watch it.
Yeah, I think that's also what makes this tournament mean so much, is people do get knocked out. You see the loss, that's when you see how much it matters to them whenever they lose and they come back next year, and I don't know, the storylines build and build. So I think that's part of what makes this tournament so incredibly special.
Yeah, and it is the one event of the year that no matter what team you play for, everybody at the back of their minds think, like, if I win this year, what does it mean? Because I could actually be winning TI. This could be the one. And yeah, it means so much, and that's why the heartbreak also, like, as a viewer, you can feel it.
Yeah, we see it. It's easy to stand up there when you're winning to celebrate what it is to be at a TI, but it's another level when it doesn't necessarily go your way. But that's the hardship of being in the lower bracket for those teams that are down there. If you're in the upper bracket, though, you're feeling a little bit better. You're just off the edge of being able to make it to a top 3. I mean, that is where these two teams that are coming up are sitting for themselves now. Since making it to the main stage of an international, how much it means to them, how close they are to be able to seeing success again in an org that has already lifted the Aegis twice. Their confidence is through the roof at the moment, but so is their opponent when it comes to Vision.
Vision!
4-0 in groups, coming in as the heavy favorites when we look towards our main stage. I would say, though, they have a formidable opponent up ahead against themselves here, and we're hoping that their ideas, their playstyle, and what brings these players to the forefront of our minds stays true, because that's the one thing in Insania that Vision are going to need is you don't want to end up playing Spirit's game. You want to be playing your own game.
No, absolutely. I think the really cool thing about Vision is they have such a defining position 4 player. He will play unexpected heroes. We saw him play Pudge yesterday. And by doing that, you're always making your opponents play your style. You're playing your game. So that is one of Vision's biggest strengths.
Yeah, there's it's such a young, sort of like new, crazy roster. Like none of these players, if you go back 2 years, a lot of people watching Pro Dota wouldn't even know who they are. And to go from complete obscurity to the best team in the world that quickly is unbelievable. I don't think I've ever seen something quite like it before. And they are so individually talented on all of their players. And they've got such a match in Spirit. Like I couldn't be more excited for this.
Yeah, I mean, when we talk about how scary Vision have looked recently in the last few months, we have to talk about Puppy joining as a coach and what he's done for the team, because he joined earlier on in the season in January. It was kind of growing pains. It happens with players alongside coaches too. And they didn't do so well for a couple of tournaments, but everything started to click. And this team has talked time and time again about how much Puppy has done for them, how he's helped them in drafts, how he's helped them shape Dota. And if we look at the screen right now, we've got the coach comparison where both Puppy and Miposhka, two legends in Sania, it's their first time attending TI as a coach.
Yeah, it's kind of funny actually, considering like both these guys have been around for so long. This is the first time they appear head-to-head as coaches. I'm sure they played each other at TI 10 when Spirit had that miracle run. And they obviously won that series. And I know from Matu how much that hurt to lose to them. So I'm sure Puppy, for him, this is like, finally he gets his rematch against Spirit.
Yeah, what a crazy TI history when you look at Miposhka. I mean, when you look at both of them, Puppy's so consistent for so long. And Miposhka, not really at a lot of the TIs, gets 1-7 early on in the TI history. And then first, 13th, first. Like, what is this record?
I remember all the way back when we ended up seeing Secret come second in the Singapore TI. We're like, the next one's Puppy's. This is it. He's going to come first. And he ended up not qualifying as a player. But if you wanted to alter the story a little bit, we could just change it. The next TI he attends is his first. This is the first one he's attended since that second place that he got with Secret as a player. And it feels like he's on trajectory. He's on track.
It's scripted.
That's what I was saying. Yep. He just needed to make it to TI, which he hadn't been able to do for the last 3 years.
I mean, it was like what? He was like 5th, 6th, and then 4th, then 3rd, then 2nd, and then... I mean, he has a good shot. Like, the team could not be any better coming into this.
I feel like the biggest part about what is giving Vision that little bit of extra oomph outside of the ideas, outside of the respect that they have for Puppy as a coach here, is the way that Satanic plays, who he is as a player as well, and the fact that they've been able to take a relatively new player that's had a little bit of fostering Quinn, but ultimately still build him into what they need and what they want from a carry.
Yeah, I think he's the single biggest talent of any player in the last year. It's crazy. People talk about this guy like he's God, and it's because he is an absolute prodigy. And it's also very funny for this matchup, specifically his team history, starting on Yellow Submarine, which is essentially Spirit's foster team, where they try to find players, and they're playing and maybe sub in for Spirit sometimes, which eventually happens. Yatoro takes a break, he stands in for Spirit, and he sort of gets nurtured and grows up a lot on that team before eventually going to Vision. And so I think for a lot of the CIS scene, but for Satanic specifically, I think he looked up to Yatoro a lot. There's a lot of sort of rivalry and connection between these players because everyone looks up to Yatoro. You could see it in his play style and how much he farms in the I'm going to carry the game, I am Lee Sin Al-Gaib play style. I think you can see that huge connection between the two.
He's Baby Yatoro, right?
Yeah.
I think that's the only way to put it.
He for sure is Baby Yatoro. I mean, you can tell that he watched all of the Yatoro replays, and his play style was... whatever Yatoro was doing in pubs, Satanic was copying. And when he got asked to fill in for Yatoro when Yatoro was on his break, I can imagine he was over the moon about it. But now he's at a position where it's a disservice to him to call him Baby Yatoro. He's not Baby Yatoro. He's Satanic. And honestly, he's been looking even better than his #1 inspiration.
That's the goal for any player, is to make a name for yourself. And Satanic is going to do that for himself. Hopefully it's with lifting an Aegis for this TI, but I have no doubt there's so much longevity in his career. I think one of the funniest things is how easily these two teams also play into it. I mean, the voice lines that come out for every TI, you have your team packs. There's one coming out from Spirit about essentially the king referencing Yatoro, and Vision come out with one that's referencing the prince. Do you think that's still on the level of a little bit of disservice, Mira, or you're like, yeah, I love it. This is the fan service I signed up for?
I mean, they're just having fun with it. There's so much respect between these two teams and these two players, and I think it's anyone's goal to beat their inspiration and be better in every way. You know, when they talk about the student surpassing the teacher, that is definitely something that Satanic is taking pride in, but ultimately there's no disrespect there.
I also feel like both these two carries going into any other series except matching up against each other are going to say, I'm the best carry in this lobby, and there's no doubt about it. And
Would you even argue that?
I mean, I think there's different playstyles and stuff, but I think a lot of people would feel this way. Like, watching these two players, they will have the carry differential on their side. But specifically this matchup, like Yatoro versus Satanic, I don't know who I would like rather have on my team. Maybe Yatoro at TI, specifically. I think he tends to shine here. He's had a few more TI appearances, and obviously he's won 2 of them. So he knows what this tournament is all about.
Yeah, I think that's the most interesting dynamic is if you look at the entirety of the year, Satanic was absolutely the better carry. I don't think that's even a question, but TI is TI. Yatoro, when you think of him on the stage, you think of Bald Toro shaving his head, coming out and annihilating me. I know what that's like firsthand. Yeah, exactly. I remember it very well. It's seared into my memory, and I think him on TI stage is seared into a lot of people's memories. He has taken a lot of names and scythed a lot of doors. So I agree. When it comes to TI, I kind of have to lean toward Yatoro.
It was shown yesterday, right? We look at their groups. They were going up against Vision in groups, looking to be that 4-0 team for themselves. They lose that series. They could have still gone through 4-1. They lose that series. They have to go into elimination. They lose game 1. And you're wondering, is this Spirit going to crumble before we even see them get to main stage? They rock up yesterday. Iron Wing, it's like they'd never even heard of those players before. That's how phenomenal they looked.
Yeah, Spirit are energized by the crowd like no team I've ever seen. Every single player feeds off of it, and especially Collapse and Yatoro. They've talked in their vlogs so many times about how whenever the crowd is cheering with them, they feel like they're stronger. And if there ever cheers against them, that makes them even stronger. And you have to be a vibes player at TI. It's a different tournament. It's a different beast. The stakes are different, regardless of how much you've competed throughout the year. And they've got experience like no other when it comes to this.
Yeah, I think people also talk a lot about ramping up. At a TI, you play the group stage and you improve to main stage and you improve throughout the bracket. And I think Spirit is the poster child for this. There is this feeling when this team is improving and marching through the bracket that they're going from good to great to unstoppable by the end of the tournament. And so when you're in the middle of the bracket like this, you need to stop them now, because when they get to the end, if you let them keep rolling, you cannot do anything about it.
So, no, you go and say it.
I also think the Spirit is just a completely different beast than any of the Spirits that we've seen in the past. When we think of Spirit, we think of this team that kind of likes to play defensive, set up a lot of baits, kind of play around Yatoro and rely on him a lot. I find that this new iteration of Spirit, they play around their supports a lot more, and the supports are a lot more enabled to make moves and play a much more active role.
The last time we saw these two teams come up against each other, it wasn't necessarily a fair fight. Vision had a lot of good ideas, but is it going to work a second time around when it comes to the TI main stage?
Team Spirit versus Team Vision. Game 1.
A win here for either of these teams means top 3 secured, and for Spirit, that would be an amazing accomplishment to be able to get back to. After winning TI in Seattle, we hadn't seen them on the main stage. They definitely fell below a lot of expectations, and now I do wonder, is the team that lost in group stages in a matchup going to come into this with an upper hand when it comes to a draft?
Yeah, so much has changed. The meta has shifted a lot. We talked about the break between the group stage and the main stage, and I think that comes into effect a lot here. You can see that by the Bounty Hunter first ban. That would not have even been in the game in anyone's thoughts in the group stage, but now this hero has risen to, I don't know, it just doesn't lose anymore, apparently. So the draft has definitely changed, so we'll have to see how it shakes out.
Yeah, I think it's worth noting that in the group stages, when Spirit lost to Team Vision, they lost twice to Earth Spirit. And they had this idea that they could beat it. I think in the series today, we're not going to see it be given away to either team. There's no idea of, which is going to let it through and play against it. I think that's a big takeaway for Team Spirit. On top of that, I think Lone Druid will be very contested in the series, where maybe other teams lost faith in him after his statistics in group stage, because he's been owning on the main stage.
Yatoro had an absolute pop-off on Lone Druid the other day, so for sure a hero for them to consider. I want to go back to the Bounty Hunter, because I think this hero being so popular actually hurts Vision, because it fits their playstyle. We talked about 9 Class coming into today, and he is a very unique player that likes to play unique heroes.
Ayan na nga guys, nag-start na ang draft ng Vision versus Team Spirit. Okay, here we go. Third series of the day.
Popular hero, everybody's gonna play it.
Day 2 ng ating main stage, guys. So this is upper bracket.
Has a little bit of an edge in that regard.
Manalo dito. Waiting lang sa upper bracket finals. This is a good matchup. The new generation carry versus the not so new generation carry.
Happy told me to play regular Dota. We've been playing regular Dota. It's working. If there's an interesting hero,
first pick for Team Spirit would be Ember's Spirit?
Style more towards laning together as a 3 and 4 instead of him just running around.
I would say even though they can play that way, it kind of favors Spirit because now you're not sucked into playing this weird vision game that they want to set up and make you feel uncomfortable. We talked about it when we see Falcons play. Like you don't want to play their game, and I think getting him on a Hoodwink or a Willow is already a win in that regard.
Yeah, this Ember, I'm so curious to see how you respond to it. We've seen Ember become a first phase pick so often in metas, and the question becomes, what hero do you want to crush him in lane with? Because there are options, but a lot of these teams aren't super comfortable with stuff like the Huskar, the Necrophos. It's not generally how you want to play, these mid players want to play. Duma's response is, honestly, I would say not that
Pape
much
versus Kuroki sana. Sabi dito ni Okolo nga, no, pag nagkatapat yung Nigma tsaka tong Vision.
I do wonder about this Doom because
so first pick ng Vision will be Doom.
Hero, right? There are very little carries that like to play against him, and the ones that are.
So offlane pick kagad para sa Vision. Well, pwede namang very flexible naman yung Doom. Si Pure ginamit yung carry yesterday. Talo sila. So tingnan natin kung ganun din bang magiging kapalaran dito ng Team Vision.
And having that edge in the end game, like you have Satanic versus
Lagay tayo ng poll, guys. Lagay tayo ng poll. So, who's gonna win this series?
You're gonna be the stronger player.
Yeah, there's the nature we've seen so many times. It's just good. We haven't really seen anything that felt like it countered it enough.
All right. So, second pick ng Vision will be Nature's Prophet.
I don't see anything particularly wrong with
this. Ayan na ang hinihintay ng mga bet lords. Ayan na nga. Ayan na nga. Nanggigigil pa.
With the same hero in lane. You want to just counterpick them. But some heroes like the Monkey King, the Huskar, Necro, those heroes have counters in other lanes, and so you respond with other lanes to then get that gotcha counterpick a little bit later once you see more information and you can make a more educated decision about which one of the counters is better against the supporting cast.
So which archetype of hero do you see fit into that from the mid lane? Like, let's say double supports come out now. Do Vision show third core, or do they just go for their supports?
History or present?
Probably is
mismo.
But I'm not entirely sure. Like, I think when you have got a Nature's Prophet on your team, you don't want double turret. We've talked about that before. You don't want these double ranged hitter guys. So if something like a Necrophos or a Huskar gets a little bit worse, and you start looking at something more like a Monkey King or this melee dude who snowballs the lane, and you can get the moves rolling, a Satanic farm and connect.
When we saw the Slark the other day, that can happen. But I think because of the lack of Wisp for both these teams, it's probably, a little bit lower.
May mag-lone druid kaya dito. Bumalik pala si Miposhka. Oo, bro. Pero as coach na lang ngayon. Dota Square.
I think there may be a bit of that for both teams, saying we've got there's heroes in the pool that are definitely contested and both teams are thinking about, and they're sort of moving around in a circle.
Undying ang sinecure data ng Team Spirit.
Middle move to something.
Gusto na lang i-save kung sino man yung madudoom somehow.
And Doom kind of enables that playstyle that you like to play against the lone druid. If they are fast at connecting to the safe lane, they can overwhelm like the guy on the safe lane that wants to just sit there and defend his tower. He doesn't really like when fast rotations can happen on him. So I think Spirit probably considering that here and decided to go for two supports. I think Hoodwink has looked extremely solid throughout this tournament. To me, it is one of the most stable position 4 heroes. It seems like the spells always have high impact, and Undying is one of those 5s that's just like, it's going to be stable, it's going to secure its lane, it creates a lot of issues, and opens up for a lot of potential pairings down the line.
She's a nice hero versus Nature's Prophet as well, because when he early teleports on her, she scurries out of the sprout. You look at Undying as well. If he gets teleported on early, he can live a little bit longer with the decay, drop a tombstone, maybe turn the tides there.
Yeah, it's smart picks, and they have great early game synergy with Ember. So even if he gets counterpicked, there's potential that you bring 3 heroes and you just fight them back. Especially with Rubik, which is a hero that traditionally is not super strong on the early fights because he has 1 spell that does damage. His other 2 spells don't do anything early, and so it's a little bit of a slower support, wants a little bit more time. And there's potential to abuse that for Spirit because their supports have got plenty of spells that all do stuff early on.
I do think an aspect of the Slark counterpick to Ember does come out. This is trending up. Honestly, it's been a lot of fun to watch, so I'll never root against this.
We were curious that if the lack of IO was going to be enough of a deterrent, that you're like, actually, we don't really feel comfortable that it will make it through the mid game out of mid lane that well, but no insane here. It's definitely gonna be okay in Vision's eyes.
I think it's related to the two supports. So if you think about how Slark dies, it's if you can find an instant hex or an instant silence on him. But he's going up against Hoodwink, which has a slow-moving projectile that he can react to, and an Undying that has essentially no spells
Slark
playing his game.
Slark support, guys.
I was wondering why the crowd was cheering so loud, and then I realized it's a Yotoro Terrorblade. Like, if you've ever seen this Yotoro army back and forth, there has always been this hero at the center of it, and we know how much the Chinese crowd loves Yotoro based off of their little bromance between Ame and Yotoro.
Yeah, it's something worth cheering for, and I think it's a really cool TB game in a lot of ways. If you look at Vision's heroes, there's not that much teamfight, there's not that much AoE, it's a lot of sort of more greedy, selfish heroes who hit one guy, and now suddenly there's a wall of illusions, there's a tombstone, there's a lot of stuff in the fight, and it's hard to deal with that. And so if TB reaches a critical mass, where he's got enough items to stand his ground and just hit, it's not easy for Vision to actually run into that illusion of the illusions. They can kind of just shred you.
Yeah, exactly. I think TB considered for a long time to be one of the best heroes against Doom because you're not reliant on the single hero to press a bunch of spells in the fight. He's going to enter the fight with a bunch of illusions and he'll do the damage. Same thing goes for Nature's Prophet. Both these heroes kind of struggle against TB, and now that you see the mid Slark that has essentially no spells either, it's a pretty good game to have illusions.
And the nerf to Satanic, the item, not the player. He's not nerfed. But the nerf to adding 10.
Seryoso na ata Yatoro, naglalabas na ng mga baraha niya. Oo nga, nag-Terror Blade na si Yatoro.
Playing with your Satanic in a way where it's more valuable than the BKB even. And if the downtime is a lot lower on it, then TB is just going to have freer fights.
Yeah, it's very true. My one question for Spirit is, they knew this Lark was coming, and we've seen a lot of teams so scared of this matchup that they just dodge. It's a very scary lane and a very scary game matchup. Laurel is one of the best mid players at taking a bad matchup and still playing the game very well. It's put him at the top. But this lane is particularly bad, and it doesn't get better as time passes. So I'm curious to see if Laurel
Hindi natin alam kung saan pupunta yung Slark, eh, no?
Strategy and item build something, because if you just play it straight up, you can have zero impact.
You know, I've seen Team Spirit do things for Laurel when he's put in Ember versus Huskar matchups where they bring all 5 heroes to the mid lane, do a late smoke, and try to kill the enemy mid laner. I've seen that happen a couple of times.
Even early carry rotations as well coming out from Yotoro if he's on a hero like that.
There's even the potential to dual lane for the first minute or two. I mean, we don't really think about it in terms of
Slark mid? Puch, grabe naman to pag nag-Slark mid to.
Strategies do
Iyari tayo dyan.
It's just it's a little bit tough. I think Laurel general Alreen, I think he has these wave dragging things. He has a lot of these weird ways of making his lanes fine. We even saw it in the previous game when he played the Sand King as Lina. He pulls the waves into the camps. I don't really think of Laurel in the same way. Would you say he kind of fits that style, or is it more of what Mira said?
No, I agree in that I think he kind of just tanks it.
Yeah.
I think he tanks it really well. He doesn't feed. It's one of the biggest things. It's very hard to kill this guy. He's low CS and he's low net worth, but he's not dead. And he plays for that moment where you overstep. You're like, I'm going to kill this guy. And then you don't. And you go too deep and you die. I've fallen victim to that before. And he's tantalizing and he baits you in. And I think that's Laurel's skill set. And I agree. He doesn't really do the wave dragging, the farming so much.
Yeah.
Posible, no? Posible mag-support, support Slark to, no?
Yeah, one last ban for Vision. Primal Beast was the other one, and I mean, it could make sense for their, what Spirit want for their last pick there, but it's just a hero that has
Collapse. Sino kayang gagamitin ni Collapse dito? Wala pang hero si Collapse.
Had way more success, way more flavor.
Magnus ba to?
Man, it's also Collapse Classic.
Magnus na ba ni Collapse to?
I feel like when Primal Beast was first released into Dota and the hero was absolutely
kaso may Rubik no? Hindi mo pwedeng hindi pwede bigay yung or hindi pwede pick yung Magnus against Rubik.
So he definitely loves it. I find it interesting here. We have kind of conceptually thinking about these teams. I think looking at
Underlord,
you can very much easily tell this is Yotoro that needs to 1 versus 9.
Yep.
This TB
kaso masi-steal lang din talaga, no?
To deal damage, whereas Team Vision has a bit more of a balanced draft where there's a Doom that can cause an issue, there's the Prophet that can cause an issue, and there's a Slark
Night Stalker. Okay, this is a good pick.
Night Stalker coming up because he has played it before.
This is a good pick.
And the aspect of Vision that's hard to play into right now is ironically, their vision. These puns are coming out by accident, by the way. I'm really not intending them, but they're playing with the Slark.
Teka lang guys, be right back ha, be right back. May kailangan lang gawin sa mga bagets.
You can find the Doom before it initiates. You can find the Prophet.
Shoutout sa inyo dyan. Shoutout sa inyo dyan. I'll be back.
It's probably Slark's biggest counter in Dota when Night Stalker gets a blink and there is no save on his team up until Rubik gets shard. So it's a cool idea.
What on earth? An Ogre last pick here for the side of Vision. 0 picks, 0 bets. This hero was completely uncontested until this moment here.
Dude, Collins likes this hero. He's played it in pubs. It pairs well with Nature's Prophet, gives you the extra attack speed, and maybe can bridge the difference in carries. You know, TP's got all the illusions. Well, Satanic's got the extra attack speed, and maybe that makes a little bit of a difference.
You know, I think this is a puppy flavor because it was played a couple of times at EWC and it was with a Nature's Prophet or a ranged carry, and it just feels like Puppy used to love this hero back in the day. He used to always play it on secret when nobody wanted to, and it just kind of naturally transitioned to his new team.
I also find it interesting because Ogre can actually buff more than one hero, right? The cooldown of Bloodlust is so short that you can keep it on multiple heroes, and you get the multicast eventually, which makes like the entire team stronger. And I feel like that again goes to like the concept of Vision are trying to accomplish, which is multiple answers for Yatoro. Whereas on the other side, I feel like Spirit, they just have a lot of tools that are going to enable Terrorblade to hit. They have the Tombstone, they have the Vision, they have all these things that are going to help him find these auto attacks and find the damage in the fight.
Yeah, I love this idea. I think it's so true, and it's like at the core of how Spirit drafts every game. Look at their heroes. They maybe don't make too much sense together until you put the TB in the picture. And oh, now I see the whole picture and it makes sense. The Night Stalker and the Ember and the Hoodwink, all these stuns, like you said, I fully agree. And it's why I love watching Spirit play, because they're drafting for the entirety of everything, how it all fits around Yatoro and not like individual stars.
I do want to know a little bit more insane this Ogre, the item progression, how it plays as a 5, because for it to not necessarily be looked at by any other team and then come out now, it's just like, where does your vision go for how you see an Ogre have impact?
And a Midas Octarine Core.
Are you being legit with me right now? Are you trolling everyone's pubs for the next month?
Yes.
All right, well, look, I'm not sure if I can fully trust you on that one, Insane. But Veer, anything else here? You're fully in the camp of what Spirit have done for themselves, or that last twist was enough for you to be swayed to Vision?
I think there's still the issue of the Slark counterpick to Ember mid, and a lot of this game will be dictated around how well Spirit deal with this, and if they can weather the pressure that it's going to bring. If they can, their draft is fantastic here.
Yeah, fully agree. I'm worried for Slark. Slark Ember is a scary, scary matchup, so that's where I'm looking. But it's Spirit on main stage. It's game 1. I got to put my faith in Bald Yatoro.
He's not even bold yet. You can't do that.
He will be.
Oh, if he makes it to the finals, we haven't even looked towards that. By the way, I know you guys were reacting to the crowd reacting. That's because Zhao 8 is casting over on the Chinese stream. If any of you guys wanted to open that one up, maybe have a dual stream going on, you're more than welcome to. But we're going to go from one legend to another. It's Tsunami standing by with Miposhka.
That's right, standing by with Team Spirits, Miposhka. Miposhka, you spent quite a time in that booth before coming out. I'm wondering, how has your coaching style changed from your 5-position style when you're in the booth? Draft ends, you're telling your teammates, this is how we should play the game. Are you giving them more instructions since you're not playing with them now?
Definitely, yes. I mean, for draft stage, not changed much, because like I previously did a lot of in the sphere. Preparation and something like that. But now I trying to teach my supports, because I played a lot on that position. So always trying to help them, trying to help like how you should put vision, how you should approach the thing. And also I'm watching a lot of replays of enemies, our replays, and trying to find some mistakes, like how we should change our approach about some things. Like a lot of work. I don't know.
How well have your...
Very many things.
Yeah, it seems that way. How well have your supports taken your lessons? Because you're doing very well in this tournament right now.
So,
how are they understanding your lessons?
I would say slowly, but they do it. They're doing it anyway.
And then how about the lesson of Slark versus Ember Spirit? How are you feeling about that matchup?
I mean, we'll see. We played once, that matchup, and after the game, Lars said I would never play anymore on Slark against Ember, because this hero is doing nothing after the lane stage. But we'll see how it will go from enemy's view. So, I mean, I believe in our draft anyway.
All right, let's see if the belief pays out. Miposhka, good luck in game number 1.
Hearing from a legend of the game, it does provoke the question, what does it take to become a legend? There's no doubt about Spirit's status as one of the greatest teams of all time, but to achieve that status, they did so by trampling over the gods of their time, beating players like Puppy and Faith Beyond to claim the Aegis. Same path now lies in front of Team Vision. To stay on the high road, they have to beat Yatoro and Collapse.
A lot of rings in this series here, and a lot more to potentially come for the young squad of Vision trying to seek their own. It's a tough team to play against on the main stage when the pressure's on, when you know these guys are going to clutch it up. And to me, these two teams, it's such a mirror match in some ways because they are both defined so much from that one position carry role. Spirit loves playing around Yatoro. He is your win condition. He is what's going to define how this game goes down past that 30, 40, 50 minute mark. And I think the same can be said for Vision. This is a team built around the young gun in Satanic. You need him to pop off. You need him to have a good time. When Satanic is ahead of his opponent carry at 10 minutes, you win the game 3 out of 4 times. Straight up. And the flip side, when Yatoro is behind at 10 minutes on the enemy carry, Spirit only managed to win that game 35% of the time. So,
okay. Nagbabalik tayo, guys. Master, hula? Gusto ko yung lineup ng Parivision dito. Kaso, may downside yan, no? Pag hindi nag-pay off yung Slark mid, yari sila dyan. Sa Team Spirit naman, may stability. Pero ang problema dito kasi pwedeng mag-scale kagad yung Nature's Prophet once na mag-rotate ng maaga tong Slark. So, conditional ang lineup dito ng Team Vision. Kailangan maging maganda yung early game ni No One para mag-pay off. At speaking of pay off, Satanic makukuha yung first blood, taking down Collapse. Okay. You don't want to give first blood to Satanic. Oh my gosh. Napakahirap nun. Okay, nag-metamorphosis kagad dito si Yatoro. So lang mag-push niyan. Meanwhile, Larl, iuuwi na lang muna yung kanyang Ember Spirit dahil wala pa siyang bote. Hinaharas lang siya dito ni No One. This is not a good start for Team Spirit, guys, ha? Grabe, tingnan niyo yung deny nung Slark, oh. 13 denies, guys. 3 minutes and 40 seconds in the game. Ru, kinukulit dito ni 9 class, and notice, back off lang. Medyo masakit din yun, ha? Wow. Ang hapdi naman nito para kay Larl, guys. 8-0 pa lang yung kanyang last hits and denies. Napakasakit, Kuya Eddie. Wala pa rin siyang bote. 4 minutes na. He doesn't know what to do. Okay, Yatoro. Gino dito ng Team Vision pero nakapag-tombstone naman dito si Ru and 9 class mamamatay doon sa Undying. Meanwhile, notice muntika na siya doon, ha? Muntika na si Yatoro doon, ha? Yes na. Do you need anything? Do you need anything? As you mentioned, these other 2 lanes are where the damage can really be done. Something into the jungle super early. Okay. No one having a. Ano na to?
Would you make of what Maposhka said about Laurel in this matchup? That, like, yeah, okay, Slark dominates.
So far, lamang dito si ano, ha? So far, lamang dito si No One sa mid. Unexpected pick coming from Vision. Labasan na nga ng strat, guys. Ito na ang playoffs. Labasan tayo ng strat. Kala nila si 9 class yung magsa-Slark. Tapos Ogre pa. Diyos ko po, pag nag-bloodlust yan dito kay Nature's Prophet. Right-clickan lang. Lakas mag-mid ni Abat doon. Loko-loko. Ending si Abat pala si No One, no? So si Yatoro dito, may 29 or 30 last hits naman siya against 28 na itong si Doom. Uy, hindi pa umabot yung ward.
I don't think this is a game where the Slark is going to have muted impact.
Okay, nandito si Undying, guys. Grabe, binabaog talaga nila dito yung Ember Spirit. Ito na si Satanic. Maagang rotation coming from Nature's Prophet. And Ru, mahahatak pabalik. At merong libreng Agi na makukuha dito si No One. The rotation coming from the Vision team. As early as 6 minutes, kukunin nila agad yung Tier 1 tower. What is this DOTA? What is this DOTA, guys? Wow. Oh my. Meanwhile, Collapse naman. Nagpupush lang din dito sa bottom lane. Trying to get as much damage or take our give as much damage dito sa Tier 1 tower. Naubos ang English ko. Wag nang mag-English, Kuya Keb. Nauutal ka na. Meanwhile, Ducalis, mahuhuli ba dito ni Not Me? No, hindi gumana ang kanyang bushwhack. Balik na sa farming dito si Satanic. Si No One, alam niyang may ward. Whoop. Yun lang. Pero alam niyang may ward. Ito naman yung kagandahan sa Slark. Meanwhile, Yatoro, tamang haras lang dito si Notice, ha. Walang game yung Ember, guys. Okay, Ducalis, mukhang siya mabibigyan dito sa side ng Vision. Pumalag lang ng konti. Collapse will get the kill.
Extra bit of golden experience for Collapse, and for me, I feel like that's
Hirap.
so much rides on Collapse.
Nabigla sila dito sa Slark mid na to.
Transition that into a mid game where he's shutting down the Slark.
Okay.
AoE silence on him.
No One.
This could be some pretty easy kills. I think the Night Stalker is absolutely the X factor in this one.
May tao. May nakita siya. Back off na lang muna. Ay, big shoutout sa 93 viewers natin so far. Thank you for staying, for tuning in. Yatoro will take the Tier 1 tower together with Collapse and Ru.
Nice little extra injection for him. Yeah, I like that Collapse took the last hit too. For a second there, I thought Yatoro was going to walk in and take it, but you need this gold on Night Stalker. You have to.
Hindi pa natin ramdam itong Doom ni Notice. Hindi pa siya nakakagamit ng kanyang first ever Doom. Gusto nilang i-make sure na may masesecure silang kill kung bibitawan man nila tong first Doom. Meanwhile, Ru, nagpupulang ng creep wave. Nandito ang Team Vision sa top lane. Meanwhile, Collapse, meron na siya ditong nighttime. Dark Ascension, let's go.
Want to move Collapse without getting at least a support kill out of it. Do you think it's okay if it just means Collapse this tower?
Oy, teka lang, nahuli dito si 9 Class, ha. Masyado naman ata umasi, my friends. And 9 Class, bibigyan ng konting pera doon si Yatoro.
Collapse, he just wants to get more out of these night times. I think that's the nature of the hero. You're always looking for as much as you can during these 5-minute windows.
2,000 net worth lead as the laning phase kind of breaks down Team Vision. Get the lead that is about expected, right?
Yes, we're approaching that 10-minute mark, and it is the Furion ahead of the Terrorblade.
Ito naman si Collapse, gustong bigyan si Nature's Prophet. Asa ng team? Op! Oy, tag-isa sila. Hindi pwedeng ikaw lang kukuha niyan, Collapse. Alright. Still enjoying their 2K gold lead ang Team Vision. Sino nanalo kanina sa Falcon? JM Torres, nanalo ang Team Liquid. Game number 3.
I also think this Spirit is not that bad for Spirit.
Nadali sila ng Faceless Void. Sinotice dito free farming yung Doom. So I don't think this is a good idea or good news para sa Team Spirit.
But they could have been a lot higher level. And it's actually the Undying who's the highest level support.
Ayan. Shoutout ulit sa inyo, guys. Yoyo, Michael, Jorex, at Camu. Shout out. And kay Andre and Eder din, syempre. Na-sermon na kasi si Nisha. Maganda yung nilaro ni Nisha ng Game 3.
That is a very fast diffuser.
Okay, sino yung naka-diffusal? Oh, yung Slark diffusal blade na. Ito na siya.
It is daytime. You're a little weaker on this Slark running around.
Ikot-ikot lang, ikot-ikot. Anong hula natin dito? So far, gumagana yung mid Slark dito ng Vision. So game 1, baka mag-Vision ako dito. Pero it's still too early to say. Andito na si Notice. Gustong bigyan nata itong Undying. Si Satanic pa nga yung nakalasit. Naki-S1 ang ulti ni Satanic. Walang iya talaga yung bata mag-farm kahit wala siya doon. So, Maelstrom na, si Nature's Prophet. Si Notice naman working his way to get the Radiance. And Tier 1 Tower, hindi na dinefend ng Team Spirit yan. Ibibigay na lang nila sa Vision. Grabe naman. Ibang level ng Dota na to. Yatoro going for his Manta style. Minamaximize niya lang yung mga metamorphosis niya dito pang farm. Hindi niya kaya magstay sa lane dahil delikado. Speaking of delikado, not me. Delikado kay no one and not me. Oy! Buhay pa rin! Hindi pwede yan! Patay si not me.
Collapse does TP away successfully there. I do feel like, look, can they make moves with Night?
Ayan na nga. Ito na ang gagawin ng Slark. Hunt na lang. Hunt around the map. At mabigyan man siya, it will take like 3 heroes para mabigyan yung Slark dito. Walang game yung Ember so far. Medyo napigilan nila yung early onslaught.
Particularly the Slark with the Fury and backup. If you can bait him in a little bit.
Okay.
Stalker blink on the backline. That's where the fight's going to look good for Collapse with this early blink dagger. It's very hard to just force the issue yourself.
Eto na si Rue. Eto na si Rue. Ikaw naman. Ando na yung diffusal blade. Nag-ulti na dito yung Undying. Nag-tombstone na din. Pero napakabilis pinatay ni Satan. Uy, si Satanic yung pumatay. Na-snipe na naman ni Satanic yung last hit doon. Napakatindi talaga ng Nature's Prophet dito ng bata. So 4K gold lead na ang ine-enjoy ng Team Vision, guys. Ember Spirit na Ghost Scepter. Oh my, sirang-sira yung ano. Sirang-sira yung game ni Lard dito ng game 1.
But what are you surviving for if you're just some Ghost Scepter?
My gosh.
After you get out of the sword count, so
Ito na si Apat. Ando na yung Blink Dagger ni Collapse. Will that be enough to take down the Slark? Yes. At ito nga yung sinasabi natin. It needs like more than 1 para ma-take down yung Slark. Meanwhile, Ducalis naman ang kanilang hinahabol dito. Siguro just delaying or ano na lang, less casualty na lang, ika nga nila. Eto na si Collapse. Hindi pwedeng sila lang ang hindi pwedeng maging passive dito yung Team Spirit or else lulubog sila dito sa economy battle. 9 class. Eto na yung Tombstone. Na lift si Larl. The Searing Chains is there. May na-doom. Sino yung na-doom? Eto na si Satanic. Na-doom yung Terrorblade. Terrorblade will fall. Larl running low. Nag-Ghost Scepter na nga. Para lang hindi ma-right-click dito ni no one. And no one nakita dito yung Hoodwink. And Hoodwink will fall. That is 2 kills para sa Doom. Kaso sama dun si nasama dun si Yatoro Parang autocast SS pag kilo nga ibang level ng Dota na to. Time will come na di mo na mapapansin mga comments namin sa dami ng viewers. We will try our best para mapansin pa rin kayo, guys. Of course. Ano naman tayo? Chill lang naman tayo. Magbabasa pa rin tayo ng comments as much as we can. Satanic Mjolnir na. Guys, next item niya will be Hurricane Pike. Si Noah naman will go for early BKB. Yatoro nasa bottom lane. Ducalis susubukang harasin dito yung Terror Blade.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yatoro just trying to hold the game going. Satanic with his aggression.
Oh, salamat guys sa 120 viewers natin right now. Thank you. At patay na naman si 9 Class. Meanwhile, Satanic. Okay, nag-out na lang dito yung Ember Spirit. Doon naman nakakabawi yung Team Spirit dito guys. Yung mga support kills somehow na kahit papaano nasa stop nila yung bleeding by picking off the supports para hindi tuloy-tuloy ang kasiyahan dito ng Parivision. Oy, good evening. What are 143? Good evening. Welcome back, brother. Welcome back. Collapse. Sinusulit dito yung nighttime. Makikita si Ducalis. Pwede mag-blink in. No one. Kasama nila. Dangerous! Naka-silence pero oy, nahuli pa rin si No One and no one will fall. Hands of Larl, notice, a little bit too late para sa kanyang Doom at wala pa din yung Doom niya. 3 seconds pa ang cooldown. Okay, Radiance na dito yung Doom. Si Collapse hindi pa rin tumitigil guys ha. Gusto niya pa ng mas maraming kills. Siya talaga ang babalanse dito para sa Team Spirit.
And that's buying a lot of time for his other 2 cores. It's not that he's pulling ahead, it's this Ember is all of a sudden having a fine game. This Terrorblade is getting to punish a tower mid. This is all a product of the Night Stalker finding the clutch pickoffs.
Vision want to fight on this tower. We smoke up.
Okay, tier 1 tower. Sinusubukan ditong kunin ng Team Spirit. May smoke attempt naman dito ang Team Vision. Collapse. Makukuha dito ni 9 Class yung Void. Meanwhile, back off na lang muna dahil sa reflection dito ni Yatoro. Meanwhile, notice, hindi alam kung kanino ibibigay yung Doom. Back off na lang muna. Patay na naman si 9 Class dun sa encuentro na yon. 2K na lang yung gold lead guys ng Parivision.
It's Team Spirit taking most of it, but as you said, both teams are experienced enough to like keep the losses. They're losing some.
Alright, next item ni Collapse dito will be BKB. Nag-early Aghanim Shard siya. Makikita dito si Satanic, guys. Naku po. Naku po. Ayun na. Ayun na. Pumalag na lang. Aray! Nasaktan si Collapse. Nasaktan si Collapse. Nag-TP out. Nahuli si Satanic. Eto na nga. Buhay pa rin yung bata. Asa na yung ulti? Pasok! Patay pa rin si Collapse. Grabe naman yun. 3 na yun, men. Wow.
Ultimately impossible for Satanic to stay alive though.
3 na yun pero nakapatay. Nauna pa si Collapse bago siya mamatay. Grabe naman to si Satanic. Composure lang. Composure lang. Easy lang tayo dyan. Meanwhile, Yatoro up na yung kanyang Manta style. And BKB ni No One kulang na lang ng resibo. Wow.
I see what's going on here.
I'll stand my ground, sabi nga dito ni Satanic. Walang takbo-takbo eh, no? Wala na, silence na ako eh. Laban na lang. May Mjolnir naman ako. Laban na to. Okay, so magbi-BKB na dito si Satanic. Next item niya. Wow.
And you can potentially have 3 cores that have BKBs and blood.
So si Collapse din naman, he's on his way to get the BKB.
It's tough. That's when this game becomes tough.
Kahit pa paano, medyo na nalilimit na si No One dito, nawala na yung tapang nung Slark na mid. Ducalis gustong bigyan dito ni Larl, nasusunog sa fire Flame Guard. Ando na nga yung Doom. Masyado ka naman teleport. Hindi sapat ang teleport. Larl will fall on the hands of Notice. Sunog siya sa Doom, sunog sa sa Scorch Earth, at sunog din siya doon sa Radiance. Kuya ba ni Satanic si Kuya Nick? Satanic Kuya Nick. Magaling ka talaga, Okol. Pro player pag Ogre Midas first item pinupuri. Pag kami nag Midas first item minupuri. I feel you, brother. I feel you. Ganyan talaga pag sa pubs, first item ogre, Midas. Sabihin pa nila nangaagaw ka ng farm. So may Aghanim Shard na dito si Ru. May Tombstone Save na pwedeng mangyari. Crucial din yan sa Madudum. So level 2 na daw yung Dark Ascension dito ni Collapse. Medyo mas matagal na yung night time. Ducalis, hahanap siya ng first Midas use niya. Ayaw niya dyan. Mababa ang ROI dyan, 2 creeps lang. Gusto niya sa creep wave, ibabato. Kaso hindi niya mabato kasi may Terror Blade. May Terror Blade. Okay, BKB na yung Slark. 9 class naman, Essence Distiller. Yatoro, meron na siyang Dragon Lance into Hurricane Pike. Labanan ng mga farm. BKB na yung Nature's Prophet dito ni Satanic. Let's go. Nakasmoke dito ang Team Vision. Kaso wala pa yung Doom. 9 class. Ayun, nahuli na si Collapse, naka-BKB na si No One. Collapse will fall in an instant. Meanwhile, Not Me will fall as well. Mabilis na tinake down yung dalawang hero ng Team Spirit. Ayun na nga, pag pub, reported agad pag Midas. Why are you doing that, Ogre? Support items, please. Nature's Prophet. Ganun lang, no? Ganun lang yung ginagawa ni Satanic. Talagang focus lang sa farm. Pag may window na makakuha ng kill, tsaka siya magte-teleport. Not wasting any time. Kaya naman, he's still sitting at the top of our food chain with 15k sa kanyang net worth. Followed by, of course, Yatoro, yung kanyang idol with 13k. But again, ina-outfarm ng bata si Yatoro, guys. Yung mga nakaraan taon, alam nyo naman kung gaano ka lupit mag-farm si Yatoro. But here comes the the Wonder Boy. Mas efficient ata mag-farm yun. Glimmer para sa core muna. Oo nga naman. Bilis mag-farm. Tapos, tingnan mo, BKB kaagad siya. Alam niya, pwedeng pumatay sa kanya doon yung crippling fear nung Night Stalker. So, sinagot niya na kaagad yung posibleng problema. Kailangan niya makakilos during team fight. Meanwhile, Satanic, mahuhuli dito si Collapse. Napa-nighttime na lang siya. Dark Ascension dahil wala na siyang wala na siyang Quelling Blade dun sa kanyang inventory. Nasa backpack. Napa-nighttime na lang nang wala sa oras. Noah naman. Hanap-hanap lang siya dito ng ward. Okay, nakahuli dito si Notme. Nag-4 staff out. Disengage din kaagad si No One. Meanwhile, Ru, mahuhuli. Uy, teka lang. Satanic na pa BKB. NTP out na lang. Nandun si Yatoro. No One, pumapalag. Papatayin muna tong Undying and they will be successful. Teleport, BKB, TP out. Let's go. Nandun si Yatoro. Nandun daw si Idol. Ayaw niya sabayan si Idol. Diba? Mautak. Kung di siya naka-BKB doon, alam niyo na, diba? Alam niyo na yung story nun. Finish na yun. Walang magka-cancel nung walang magka-cancel nung BKB niya eh. Okay, nighttime for Collapse. Bubuin niya na lang tong BKB niya. Ayan na, nakabili na siya ng resibo. Yatoro, wala siyang metamorphosis. Ito yung teleport. Hindi umabot kay Yatoro. And this time, Team Vision will try to push the tier 1 tower sa bottom lane or not.
It's going to be Butterfly for Satanic. It's going to Butterfly for you.
Nawalan na ng buhok in real life.
One of the
Ayun na
reigns
nga.
supreme here.
Do either one of them go MKB to deal with the other, or is it just both carries are going to try and kill?
It would be.
else on the enemy?
I think it would be quite hilarious. They both went Butterfly, saw it, and both went MKB. Though I think it's a much stronger item on Terrorblade than Furion on average.
And sa mga hindi nakanood nung series ng Team Liquid and Falcons, guys, meron tayong Dota highlights dyan. Na-upload na dito sa channel natin. Baka gusto nyong panoorin. So, next item ni Nature's Prophet dito will be Butterfly. Ayaw niyang masaktan sa right clicks ni Yatoro. Pabilisan na lang umitem, pero nakakahabol na yung Terrorblade, guys, ha. Somehow nakakahabol na. Collapse. Andito siya sa may riverside. Gusto atang talunin si Docalis. Okay. Andito siya sa likod.
They're smoking to him. He's trying to anchor a position that Spirit can go to here and get a really nice backstab on the fight. Just catch Vision off guard. It might work.
Ayan na nga. Nascan na. At andito na si Collapse. Makikita ba? Okay. Nakita si Rubik kagad. Meanwhile, yung Ogre makikita din. Mamamatay kagad si Ogre. Rubik will be next. 2 supports down para dito sa Team Vision.
Attack came from multiple angles. They just weren't sure what this fight was looking like.
Okay. Alis muna sa ano. Okay. Yung Slark. Uy, pumalag. Pumalag si No One. Na-force stuff out naman si Collapse after mag-commit ng BKB. Notice may BKB din siya dito. Nature's Prophet. Kukulitin lang dito ng Team Spirit. While Terrorblade nakakahabol na sa farm. Ito na yon, medyo na di-disrupt na yung farming dito ng bata. So dumidikit na yung farm dito ng Terrorblade ni Yatoro. Ayan na yung Butterfly. Laban na. Uy, No One. Tamang hanap lang si No One dito.
The fact they're up kills this game is kind of astounding.
Malapit na din mag-Butterfly dito yung Terrorblade at may Hurricane Pike siya, guys, ha. Meanwhile, yung Undying naman may Blink Dagger na. Uy, makikita ata nila dito si Yatoro. Makikita nila si Yatoro. Nadum na kagad yung Terrorblade and Terrorblade mamamatay na lang ng ganun-ganon. No problem. At mag-open nga ang Rosh Pit para dito sa Team Vision. Yari na pagka ganyan. Aegis advantage. Teka lang, si Collapse, ha. Nandun sa ano, ha. Nasa likod. What are they going to do? Okay. Nature's Prophet will secure the Aegis of the Immortal. Sumubok pa si Not Me na umagaw. Kaso makikita ba? Hindi na nakita ng Nature's Prophet. Problema dito sa right clickan, may bloodlust. Etong si may bloodlust tong si Satanic. So mas masakit ang right click nito mamaya, mas mabilis. Versus Terrorblade. So tier 1 tower will fall on the hands of Satanic. Dito sa bottom lane, 6k ang gold lead ng Team Vision so far. Patuloy lang sa pagpa-farm tong Nature's Prophet. Slark naman dito may Aghanim Scepter na. Next item will be yung upgraded Diffusal Blade. Ano nga tawag dun, guys? Grabe, nagme-mental lapse ako, ah. Disperser. Yan, Disperser. I am running out of words sometimes. Tumatanda na talaga. Etong si Ember Spirit naman, naka Lincoln Sphere na and will go for the Aghanim Scepter. 4-man smoke. Coming from Team Spirit. Sino kaya ang kanilang mahuhuli? Uy, Satanic. Ayun na, nakahuli na. Nakita na ni Lartlong si Docalis na Bushwhack at na Sharpshooter. Op, alis muna si Satanic dyan. Masyadong mainit dyan sa kalye na yan. Alis muna tayo. Ayan, Disperser nga. Thank you, Ron the Waltz.
might just weather through this daytime without too much loss. It's still Vision that's going to be
Ang kulit to, tamang ano lang oh. Reflection lang, pang scout lang ang ginagawa dito ni 9 class. Oh, huli kang nag-ward, di ba?
Right now, scaling other than this dude, which it's just a skill-based thing. You can find the connection on the Terrorblade. It's
okay, Nature's Prophet. Kinukulit lang dito si Collapse. Alam ng Dire to guys, alam ng Dire. 9 class, naka-blink dagger na nahuli. 4 staff out, kaso hindi pa rin uubra dahil nga dun sa crippling fear ni Collapse. And patay na naman si 9 class guys. Talagang yung support ang nagsasuffer dito sa side ng Team Vision, which is okay. Kung ikaw yung Vision, you would take that rather than mga big heroes ang ma-pick off. Spoiled Brat, shoutout bro. Thank you, I appreciate it. No one? Tumalo na lang doon. Asa na? Asa na yung Doom? Hindi makapag-Doom. Ayun na, Doom na yung Ember Spirit pero na-save dun sa Tombstone. Meanwhile, etong Undying naka-ghost sa Scepter lang yan. Mamamatay pa rin. Sa Tanic, buhay na buhay. Doon sa backlines na pa-BKB na nga at nag-blink si Notice. Rue, running low. Sinunog lang ni Notice. Mega kill na yung kanilang Doom. 2 heroes down guys para sa side ng Team Spirit. Wala pa yung Rubik doon. Wow. So nag-early Gem of True Sight na nga itong si Noan. Ayaw na nilang ma-out vision dito ng Team Spirit. Tama nang yung nighttime na lang daw ni yung Dark Ascension na lang daw ni Collapse ang poproblemahin nila mamaya sa vision. Pero wards wise, ayaw nila. Tier 3 tower. Gusto na nilang i-push. Napakabilis rumay-click ni Satanic guys. Napakabilis rumay-click. Kalahati ka agad yung tier 3. Okay, nag-fortification na dito yung Team Spirit. 13 seconds bago makabalik. Nahuli si Yatoro! Oh no! Oh no! Andun na yung Sander! Papalag ba? May Aegis ako. Wala akong pake. Yatoro will fall on the hands of no one. Sulit na sulit yung Aegis. Good, ano yun ha? Good read. Para kay Satanic yun. Palagang kita. May extra life ako. Bessie. 13k gold lead coming from Team Vision. Tuloy-tuloy ang pananalasa. Wala si Yatoro ng 50 seconds. Nag-metamorphosis pa ata siya. So window to for Team Vision to push. At eto na nga si Satanic. Mas gusto niya yung high ground. Kalahati na yan eh. Nasimulan na natin yan eh. Tapusin na natin. And Satanic securing the tier 3 tower. Meanwhile, nandito yung Ember Spirit. Okay, na-out position dito si Not Me. And first set of racks. Mabilis na kinuha dito ng Vision. 34 minutes in the game. Wow. And tier 2 tower. Wala na, hindi na pinapatagal ni Satanic yung game guys. Paliit na ng paliit ang mapa dito ng Team Spirit. So MKB is up para dito kay Satanic. So another downside dito ng Terrorblade is papalag lang siya kay Satanic pag may metamorphosis siya. So yung buyback potential dito ng Terrorblade hindi masyadong magmamatter. Why? Dahil pag namatay siya ng naka-metamorph at nag-buyback siya, wala nang metamorphosis unless meron siyang refresher orb. Collapse! Munti ka na. So kailangan makapanalo talaga ng team fight dito yung Team Spirit. The problem is wala talagang walang magho-hold sa mga heroes dito ng Team Vision. Well, ito si Collapse, nakabili na siya dito ng Nullifier. So yung mga 4 staffs dito ng Team Vision hindi gagana. Though meron silang meron silang Rubik na pwedeng kumuha ng shard para pwedeng i-save. Larl? Tamang remnant out lang.
Oh, Hex on that Ogre, by the way. This might just
Okay.
absolutely paid off in this game.
Si Ogre may Hex na, guys. Oh my God. You don't like to see this, no one. Kinukulit dito yung Undying. At ayun na nga, napabikb na lang din. Patay ka agad yung Undying. Pero buhay pa rin yan. Mamatay yung Ogre. Meanwhile, notice, sinahabol dito si Yatoro. Pero na-linkin. Kinancel na lang, Larl. Nag-go Scepter na lang. Satanic nahuli dito ng Bushwhack ni Notme. And Notme tamang disengage na lang muna. Satanic, sinusubukan ditong i-push through ng Team Spirit. Ito na ata yung kailangan nilang teamfight. Collapse. Hindi makapag-blink in. So, support for support. Na-commit yung Metamorphosis dito. Na-commit ang Metamorphosis.
No, running into control issues. This Night Stalker was good for the first half of the game. Once the BKB
May Doom pa rin si Notice. So kung sino yung makikita nila sa map dito, kailangan mag-ingat.
Becomes way easier to disengage from this zone of control the Night Stalker is proposing.
Yeah, they have such single target.
Kailangan mag-ingat ng Team Spirit. Alam nilang may Doom pa, Andrew. Makakapag-blink out pero hindi pa tapos si No One. Gustong gusto niyang pumatay. Eto na yung Tombstone. Nasa base. Guys, nasa base. Out na lang muna. Na-commit or napareact nila dito yung buong team ng Team Spirit. Kaya naman si Satanic pumush na lang sa top.
They do finally get to that Scotty, and it's still nighttime vision. This would be very bold. They could just wait until daytime, but
okay.
Right now, he's 25. He has the player's DOTA. His damage is out of control.
But if they lose this fight, it could be teams getting changes.
Grabe, tignan mo si Satanic, oh. Alam niya, walang Metamorphosis ata dito yung Terrorblade. Uy, na-force stuff in. Pag-BKB na lang din. Pinag-right-click dito yung Hoodwink. Hoodwink, buhay pa rin, guys. Meanwhile, mamamatay naman yung Undying dun sa likod. And Hoodwink, tuluyan na mamamatay. No one. Denive din si Collapse. Mamamatay din yung Night Stalker. Larl, walang magawa. Yatoro, susubok na lang muna. Nag-Metamorphosis. Satanic, pinalagan. Satanic, na-save. Namatay. And meanwhile, medyo magulo. Teleport na lang muna ginawa dito ni No One pero na-stop yan ni Larl. 2 heroes down para sa side ng Vision. Pero 3 buyback ang kinailangan nila para lang mangyari yun. 3 buyback, guys.
Triple buyback plus a lane. A brutal economic blow.
Oh my, 21k na ang gold lead dito ng Team Vision. Masayang masaya ang Pari Vision doon, guys. Pero a little bit of window para sa Team Spirit. Pwede silang mag-rush. Unfortunately, wala pa yung bisita. 26 seconds pa.
There's still hope that they can get it.
Teka lang, si Collapse tumalon dito. Collapse, what are you doing, my friend? Mamamatay ata dito yung Night Stalker. Hindi po pwede yan. Tamang tago lang. Makakapag-blink out ba? Hindi na nakapag-blink out. In fact, mamamatay pa si Ducalis na pa-BKB na dito si Notice and Collapse. Die back! Mamamatay din dito si 9 Class. Whoa. So that's 4 heroes down para sa Team Vision pero nag-dieback yung Night Stalker. Masyadong umasim.
That's the dieback there. He did tank the Doom. And honestly, it's kind of worth it in some ways because now you can take this.
So eto na yung Rosh. Andito na. Yatoro, minamadali na to. Binato siya. Ayaw pa alisin. Yatoro, binato. Binato din dito yung Hoodwink. Eto na si No One, taga-sundo! Larn! Binato na naman ni Roshan! And yung Nature's Prophet gusto patayin si Yatoro! Patay! Patay si Larn! Ru! Naipit! Namatay! At makukuha pa nila yung Aegis! Oh my gosh! What a disaster para sa Team Spirit!
They were seconds away if they could have just done it.
Oh, ilang beses binalugbog ni Rosen yung yung team spirit doon. At eto na nga si Noah, naka-amplify damage, taking the tier 3 tower dito sa bottom lane. Ang tagal pang wala ng dalawang members dito ng team spirit dahil dieback sila.
The extra life of Furion, it's gotta be over. I don't know how they can take this.
They're gonna get Megas here.
And here comes the Mega Creeps.
No one laughing all the way to the bank.
Oh my, nag-pay off yung Slark mid dito ng Team Vision. Tier 4 towers na ang next objectives at meron pang banner dito. Ang Team Vision, mahuhuli si Satanic. Meanwhile, not me, makakapag 4-staff out. Larl, nandun lang sa backlines, gustong bigyan yung Ogre Magi. Kailangan niyang mag-risk dito. Pero na-take down or na-lockdown. Ethereal, na-doom. Huwag nang patagalin yan, dive ka din. Dive ka din, Larl. Yatoro, ginamit na yung kanyang Metamorphosis para lang mag-defend. And syempre, hihintayin lang to ng Team Vision ma-expire. And once expired na ang Metamorphosis, that's the time na papasok sila ulit. Again, meron silang Aegis advantage, may buyback advantage ata sila, and this is the killing blow para sa Team Vision. Ayan na nga, double jump coming from no one. 4-staff out lang dito si Yatoro. Okay, wala na yung Metamorph. Yatoro, na-lift, collapse, na-hex. Yatoro, na-save. Pinapatagal lang, pero patay pa rin to. Na 4-staff out, notice nag-blink in, notice pinatay si Yatoro. Collapse, sinusubukan pang habulin yung Rubik, but he is surrounded by the Vision team. Satanic, focus ng NGG. Game number 1, 42 minutes, Team Vision. Easy peasy. Sabi dito ng bata, ako na ang bagong carry ngayon. The one true carry.
And then in weird games like this where it kind of feels even for a long time, it feels like they're always the team that finds
Roshan nagdala. Yun nga.
Second the levy breaks.
Okay. Magpapahinga muna ako, napagod ako dun sa game na yun. Action pack, guys. Pakinggan muna natin sila. Balik tayo ng game number 2. BRB.
I think this situation for Spirit's just very uncomfortable. You're in a game where the onus is on you to make all these incredibly difficult moves with Night Stalker because your Ember just doesn't have a lane to play. It's all on Collapse. He finds some of those, but he just had to find so many.
Too many problems. Vision constantly pose too many problems for their opponents.
Though Miposhka there at the end of the draft talked about how Slark doesn't really do anything post the lane, you have to question, but is your Ember going to be able to do anything in the lane after that as well? It felt like so often we were seeing Lal be put in precarious situations and have to do so much with so little, but still massive props to Spirit for being able to drag out this game that they did, put themselves in a position where they're contesting objectives, they're taking towers, and we actually almost saw them get a strong grip on this game, potentially even lead it into that win.
Yeah, I think it's an incredibly impressive performance from Laurel because his position is super hard, and we saw what we talked about. He didn't die. He's holding on. He catches up really well. His net worth is totally respectable, even in a situation where he's playing an impossible lane. I think it's a great show of resilience and the magic Spirit has, but I don't know. This Vision team is they're just on fire right now.
Yeah, in a way, the Doom pick to me was the really genius aspect of how Vision played it with the opening in the draft. I think you alluded to it a bit, Quinn, about how they're going to set up for something even later on, and then the Doom kind of looked like the backup plan. They had the Slark up their pocket. They were going to shut him down later on. They didn't want them to pre-address the Slark in the earlier picks. And even if Laurel managed to recover, that was where Doom existed. So many fights, even though Slark was being handled by the Night Stalker, Doom was dooming the Ember. And what can you do after that? Even if you try to recover, it's very hard to take those fights.
Yeah, I mean, I think the prior draft, obviously, like, it played out into their favor, but I think this game is a lot closer than people think it is. I think Spirit, it's not a lot of things that needed to go different for them to actually win this game. I feel like we mentioned it already, but the way they recovered Ember's game with, like, some really clutch moves, because I don't think it's just Laurel. It's something they do as a unit, and they're really good at helping him find his footing back into the game. And in this game in particular, I think it was when you saw the Slark TP down to the bottom lane, they opened up the mid tower, it ends up actually favoring Laurel, I think, this whole rotation that they do there. And it's because of Collapse's pressure. And they're just, I think Spirit are really good at finding these key moments. And unfortunately, the game breaks for them when I think Yatoro gets smoked on and they lose the first Roshan. I think that really is the key moment that closed the game for Vision. But if you're playing a game like this, it feels really close.
No, 100%. Collapse is a special shout out to him because I think he played incredible this game. I think one of the only players in the world that could play the way he did, buying Blink first, finding so many kills, and still having solid net worth, making space for Laurel, making space for the rest of his team to farm and catch up. Like, Yatoro had no pressure on him for such a huge portion of this game. It was honestly an incredible performance that ends up not working out, but I still have hope for them for the rest of the series.
Yeah, I look at Vision, everything that they were able to do for themselves, and it is hard to pick a player or a hero that stood out just that little bit above because they were all doing everything they needed to do. This Slark is supposed to win lane, it does it. This Nature's Prophet is supposed to be able to either get on the back line, shut down whatever Yatoro wants to do, and Satanic played that beautifully. The supports are the ones where I always like to draw my attention a little bit more, Mira, because normally they do make or break, but in this game, it felt like they were kind of just there, almost in a way that we could have seen Vision succeed with a multitude or a plethora of different heroes for themselves.
Yeah, Vision are so good at enabling Satanic within their drafts and their support picks and creating situations where he's at least 3k net worth ahead of anyone else in the game very early on. And even if situations happen in the game, like when Collapse got his Blink Dagger and started to find kills, even if this happens and they lose a little bit of grip on the game, they still have their carry 3k net worth ahead of anyone else. And it gives them that security and that failsafe where when the games slow down, it feels comfortable for them always. And Vision are looking really scary because of that. They've consistently picked Nature's Prophet. Teams have tried to counter Nature's Prophet, and he still wins with it.
We're going to talk about those later portions of the game in a little bit, but for now we wanted to look more towards what that earlier part entailed for Vision and how they were able to find a lead and a success for themselves in those lanes. The person walking us through that is Purge.
Thank you, Nat. Yeah, these drafts have been very instrumental, not just in this series, but lots of other ones. We saw the Slark versus Ember matchup earlier in the Liquid series yesterday, actually. But let's take a look at the laning stage. It wasn't just that matchup. It was also this cool Ogre pick. Last pick Ogre. Not very often your support gets to pick last, but what he's doing for his team is he's giving Bloodlust to the best player in the world, Satanic. And that extra attack speed and that extra movement speed allows him to bully the crap out of his opponents. And it also allows them to potentially get first blood here. They do a nice Sprout into a Fire Blast with some right-click rundowns. That's how they got the first kill. And then as the lane continues, it's the same kind of story. The Night Stalker's getting hit like 6 times every time he might have one opportunity to get a last hit. So he gets bullied out of the lane, and generally really good starting farm for Satanic. But again, Team Spirit did do a good job stabilizing. But Slark is the guy that we need to talk about. He's the little fish in the room, basically. There's some small changes to the hero that you might not be up to date at, but he's got a new ability, his third one here. It basically steals regen from his opponents and gives it to himself. And his old passive is actually right here. It's your innate. So he just gets this for free. So his melee trades are disgusting. So when you lane him against a hero like Ember Spirit, you're basically putting your regen down to 0 whenever Slark hits you. And that's going to make a bad outcome for you in your game. Take a look at this. 0 HP regen per second as he gets hit by Slark. So he basically can't lane in this matchup here, which makes his CS very, very bad. And even at the 6-minute mark, they're ready to pressure. The net worths right now are already looking kind of bad, and them diving into this tower, killing the Undying, backing and taking the tier 1. They got what they wanted out of this early game. They would have loved to have more kills, certainly, but this is basically the hero matchups that we need to be looking for in further matchups if there is an Ember Spirit that shows up, because it will get you off to a really bad early start.
Thank you so much, Pudge. We've spoken multiple times about the theory behind a Slark coming up against an Ember, and whilst it did happen in groups, seeing it here in the main stage get picked the way it did, they're trying to close out their second phase in the draft, be able to protect it as much as they can with the remaining bans they do, but at the end of the day, it felt like they didn't even really necessarily have to do that. I would love to see Spirit focus up a bit more on lanes, because Mira, we do see that Night Stalker struggle up against the Nature's Prophet, but later on, what was it, around the 14-15 minute mark, still have so much impact, so we could see the ideas behind what Miposhka was talking about, what the teams wanted for themselves.
Yeah, it did look like a really rough lane for Collapse, but what that hero was able to achieve in that game definitely justified the pick. I really think the big issue here and the big story of the game, like we mentioned, was the Ember versus Slark mid. That's truly where all of the issues were created. That's what changed the gameplay, and that's what forced Night Stalker to have to overperform in situations like that. you don't really want to be in there, but it just happens. The Slark mid as a counter to Ember is kind of a new thing that's going on, and teams are going to have to adjust to it in real time. But, you know, as we can see here, this team fight, I think, happened after Collapse's pickoffs, but the game kind of looked like it was Vision's all along.
Yeah, it's tough. It's just it's a hard game. They fought back very well. I think this Vision team, part of what makes them so strong is those early moves. You saw Purge talk about it in the video, but the fact that they're a team that consistently makes these. You see some teams, they make a move once every few games. They open a tower. Vision, every game, they're making a move, combining cores, opening towers. That's sort of a really basic concept that was everyone sort of agreed upon at some point years ago, that you combine cores sometime in the first 10 minutes, and that allows you to make the heroes that are strong actually, be in the same place. You can open a tower and start opening up the map. And they have crystallize that, and they do it every game. They do it so consistently, and I think that's one of the things that they do better than everyone else that allows them to have such good positions, to Satanic be so farmed every game. It's not wizardry. They've got a formula going that works really well.
Yeah, no, absolutely agree. I mean, this concept in Dota has existed that you kind of always want to play where you're strong, and as supports is especially important that you want to move to the areas of the map where you have strong cores. And what they're doing that excellently. And then when you add another core to an area, that area suddenly becomes like your fortress, and nothing can enter it. And that's what we see here. Like, they have Nature's Prophet winning his lane, connecting to Slark winning his lane, and opening up the mid tower.
Yeah, I mean, these collapse moves, again, were very valuable, especially the early kills on Slark to get Laurel back into the game. But when the Ember came back into the game, there was still the threat of Doom that I touched upon a little bit earlier. There were a few fights that were taken, but if Ember is getting doomed, it doesn't really matter if Slark's getting blinked on, because at some point, the game's going to stabilize, Slark's going to go farm a BKB, and they're content to let Doom devour creeps, let Nature's Prophet hit whatever, and wait for an opportunity to take a fight.
Yeah, you can see it in Ember's itemization. He goes Ghost Scepter first, into Kaya, into Lincoln Sphere.
How many games could you say you've done that build, or you feel like people...
0.
Okay.
And I've played like 3,000 Ember games.
I just want to put context out there as to why you're talking about that, because that is a thing that people are not looking towards at all.
Yeah, you're just buying incredibly weird items, and it makes you not only uncomfortable, but also weaker. And you just, I don't know, you're missing those normal timings you have. It makes you have to play off of the moment and not so much off of the bank of knowledge you've acquired over playing so many officials on those heroes and other heroes. You're just put in an uncomfortable position. And that is a way of countering heroes that is not easy to create, but when you do, like owning both paths of their itemization. Ember wants a BKB, or he wants just the Ghost Scepter, but now he needs both, and he needs a Lincoln's too, and you can't buy them all. You can't buy 4 defensive items. It's not how Dota works, right? You need something that allows you to build damage, and so I think it's a great point, and part of why this game looks so intolerable. If there's no Doom and just a Slark, well, Ember buys a Ghost Scepter, and these fights look very different.
So double whammy from Vision doing so much for themselves, and we saw in that clip as well there is, it was this lead or this comeback, whatever you want to coin it for Spirit, it was surmounting for themselves. The ball was really rolling, but Vision wanted to nip it in the bud. They go, we're going to smoke up, and the only target we're looking for at this point is Yatoro. We want that Terrorblade, and they find him. It's really hard in Sania these days to praise enough how well a successful smoke can go, because more often than not, supports are aware of it. Supports are in positions to be the ones to sacrifice themselves for it. So Vision getting it, is this like a big brain 100% on them, or also a little bit to, we could have seen Spirit be slightly more aware of it, and we're hoping they're going to be more critically thinking when it comes to a game 2.
I mean, I think that kind of move, you have to credit Vision for it. It's essentially what's happening is Roche is there, and they're smoking towards the triangle, which is close to Roshan, and looking for any sort of kill that would allow them to get Roche, and they happen to find the most important target, which is Yatoro. When he dies, there's just absolutely no way that Roshan is getting contested. And for me, I think prior to that moment, everything we've said about like Ember being countered, his item build being weird, all this stuff is true, but I think up until that moment, Spirit had a realistic chance of winning the game, because I feel like their heroes were finally coming online, but when they get that move, they kind of solidify that like the game is now ours, and you have to let us like dominate the map for the next 5 minutes with the Aegis.
Yeah, it's just tough. And I think when I look at Spirit in those cams, I find it interesting to look at them between games when they're in the hallway about to come out on stage again. Like, how is the vibe? How do they look? And when I look at them, they look kind of tense. They look a little tight. I don't know. To me, they're not talking that much. Little mutterings here and there. And I've been there when you're about to go back out on stage and things feel kind of tight. You lost the last game. You didn't play super well. And so I'm looking straight at the gate. How does the draft go? How does the beginning of the lanes go? Because when I look at them, it didn't look ultra inspiring, if I'm being honest, between games.
Yeah, I mean, to add to your point, Insania, about how it could have been close up until TV got smoked on, I think that's something that Vision really have to be praised for, because if one smoke on your carry at one point of the game is why you lost, then there are issues within your draft, because while Vision do a similar thing in building up Satanic to be the end-all and be-all for them, there's still backup plans. There's still Doom, who is a secondary carry who's scaling. There's still a Slark that's playing with an Ogre with Bloodlust. It's not that if Nature's Prophet dies, you don't have a means to fight back. So potentially incorporating, more of a failsafe into Team Spirit's draft could be better in this game too.
I just feel like that's not Spirit, though. You know what I mean? I feel like they are that team. They will go all in on Yatoro, and he has delivered for them in the past. And I think that is like one of the, sometimes it's plays to their strengths, and sometimes it's to their detriment, like in this game, right? Where it is all in on Yatoro, and he has to do it. And if he doesn't, then there just isn't any plan B.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say, you can't win with just Yatoro versus Team Vision. You need Laurel as well, and you need to enable him within your drafts.
I think if you're essentially giving 2 lanes to the advantage of Vision, and you go the only lane that matters is Yatoro's, that's where the issue arises. If you're like, okay, 1 lane is going to have an issue, you could walk away with it. I feel like that very much falls into the multitude of formulas Spirit has for success. But both Lal and Collapse walking away with rough lanes, that's where, the big question mark ensues of, can you actually get a win from that one here? And Vision is another one that we have to talk about here, because the draft has been so tough to predict for everyone. Their supports have always been changing it up. Their cores, despite Satanic staying more towards that Nature's Prophet side, it feels like everyone else is able to experiment in some way, shape, or form because of how stable of a pillar Satanic has been.
Yeah, it's just individual excellence across the board. You look at all of their players, and you can argue that all of them are the top player in their role across the whole tournament's field. I think it's very rare you look at a team and you can do that. Oftentimes there's a star player, and then these other guys are fine. They're good players, but they're not quite at the same caliber as this guy. But you look at that team, and they're all incredible. They're all super high MMR. They're grinders. They have dedicated their lives to this game. They're playing it day in, day out. And you just see them online. You see them in their pubs. I see them more than any other team in my games when I'm playing pubs, and you can feel it. These little small things, the little intricacies, the knowing the matchups, I think that's why we see so many different heroes from them, is because they are so in love and dedicated to the game that they just know all these things intuitively, and they can find the right moments for them.
And that's a very valuable thing that you bring up, because in the past, Dota could not be won, or TI could not be won with just the best players. We've seen all-star rosters be formed in the past and it not being enough. But now it's become so streamlined. The fundamentals are pretty universal amongst most teams. It's agreed upon what the best way to play Dota is in any current patch. What the big difference maker is now in 2026 compared to 10 years ago is how good are your players individually? How much do they study the little things? And can they step up and clutch when they need to? For Vision, they can.
They must be the highest MMR team, right, in the world.
I think so.
I think, just thinking about their players, I think all of them are, probably in the top 30.
Top 50 at lowest, I think.
Yeah.
Wow. Top 50 at lowest. It's insane to think that the caliber of a team like Vision is even going to potentially falter here, but we'll see if game number 2 is Spirits.
Team Spirit versus Team Vision. Game 2.
It all starts with a draft. Looking towards this second game, we do wonder, is there going to be a reaction to what was let through in terms of bans? Do we have to look at anything new that needs to be taken out of the hero pool here? As this time around, we're going to have Spirit with the opening. Sorry, we're going to have Vision with the opening pick here. Game 1, it was Spirit who had that. So Bane being taken out, Lina being taken out, and the Slaughter for the side of Vision, whereas it is a Tree, Bounty Hunter, and Earth Spirit. And that is a change-up in the bans.
And the Slaughter is a fun one because this is considered one of the counters to Earth Spirit mid, and Team Spirit are like, okay, we're not going to give it to you. We lost to it twice, you bound Slaughter. You don't get to have your Earth Spirit.
They do leave the Nature's Prophet in the pool, though, so they could potentially be taken again. Nature's Prophet owned that game, and he's farmed, and he's doing everything he should do. But at the same time, it didn't feel unbeatable to me. It feels like Spirit has potential answers for it. And I agree with Mira's point that I think the Doom and the fact they lose mid so bad, Nature's Prophet is strong, but he's not infallible is kind of how I feel. And they agree. They don't even take it. They say, maybe we'll look at it later, but not right now.
It is a hero that they do like to have more towards the second.
All right, guys. Game number 2 between Team Spirit and Team Vision. First pick dito ng Team Vision will be Dark Willow. Check lang natin yung mga binance nila dito. Trend Protector, Bounty Hunter, Earth Spirit, and Keeper of the Light. Sa Team Vision naman, ang binan nila dito will be Bane, Lina, and Slardar. Now we're waiting for the first pick ng Team Spirit. Shoutout sa'yo, Takloy Onyate. Thank you, Gaming 101. Don't forget to like and share, guys. Winter Wyvern ang first pick dito ng Team Spirit. Pang turn around lang ng team fight. Ano kaya ang magiging ban dito ng Team Vision?
First pick's a support, and there's a Winter Wyvern on the second pick after in response. We saw it yesterday against the Bounty Hunter, and I think this is another situation where this doesn't really make a ton of sense.
I think Spirit just really prioritized the Wyvern because in game 1, even though they had first pick, they weren't necessarily willing to pick it for themselves, and they banned it. They used one of their 3 bans to take out the Wyvern. It gets let through here. It's not picked up by Vision, so they clearly place some importance on it. No one else necessarily is, or something we aren't seeing, for them to be able to confidently say, this is what we want in this trade.
I do think an aspect of this Wyvern that we talked about a little bit in game 1 is that Lone Druid is a hero that has to be on the mind for both of these teams. They both played it yesterday on the main stage, had incredible games on Lone Druid, and Wyvern is one of the only supports that you can pick comfortably to play against it. So if you secure it early...
Okay, nahihirapan sila dito sa fourth ban, ha? Medyo nauubos yung reserve time dito ng Team Vision.
There you
go. Okay, binanala yung Lone Druid.
It's a very fair point. I do think at the same time it's
mahirap na daw at baka madali sila nung bear.
Against the hero that kites you, that plays sort of.
What's up, Mimai? What's up? Kamusta dyan? Kamusta dyan sa Europe? Sa Europe ka pa rin ba, Memes? Amsterdam pa rin ba tayo?
My take on that is when Team Vision pick Willow, or at least...
So may ban na Shadow Fiend dito ang Team Vision?
When 9 classes on Willow, he wants to play with Notice, and that's when we'll see...
Boss 1 Winter Wyvern? Nako. Kung sa do or die game, madam, hindi ata gagawin ng ano to? Hindi ata gagawin ng Team Spirit yan? Nood habang waiting mag-out. Yun nga. Thank you, Memes. Salamat sa pagpili dito sa channel para manood ng Dota. Very much appreciated yan. Oo, yung Nature's Prophet hindi pa rin nakaban.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I think Spirit, like, to be honest...
Pero at least, meron na silang meron na silang BKB penetrating skill para dito sa Nature's Prophet. Ayan, binan nila yung Nature's Prophet ni Satanic. Medyo masakit sa ulo yung Nature's Prophet na yan.
That's their course correction from a game 1.
Yeah, no, early pick Ember. It's good for Laurel, you know.
Pa-shoutout sa kasama ko manonood, Kuya Kevs, kay Nico Serrero. Papapuwet daw siya. Hindi maganda yan, brother. Always save that part. Okay, at another BKB penetrating skill for Team Spirit. Andyan ang Doom ni Collapse. Ang daming viewers. Oo nga guys, baka naman sa 65 na nanonood sa atin ngayon, baka naman pwede kayo mag-iwan ulit ng another like sa ating stream and share nyo na din. Kung di pa kayo nakakapag-subscribe, subscribe na din kayo. Thank you guys. Thank you. Sana may game 3, no? Sana ma-turn around ng Team Spirit para mas mataas ang ano natin. Fantasy points. Alright, so quick pick dito ng Drow Ranger and Undying ang Team Vision. Ano naman kaya ang sagot ng Team Spirit? Thank you. Salamat, Mimay. At sa mga magla-like pa, maraming salamat.
Not only do you have Undying who steals the strength hero, you're stealing his damage as well as his HP.
So, pwede yung Mirana.
Good against this hero because he does damage through Scorched Earth and through Infernal Blade. Neither of these spells is far range.
Pwede din yung Dark Willow, tawag dito. Hoodwink ulit.
really doing damage to you without a pretty good setup.
Pwedeng
and you've got
hoodwink,
a guy
pwedeng
on the body
Rubik
in front, so you
ni
just get
Not
pelted
Me.
with arrows indefinitely, and then you're slow and you're a hero who needs to farm a lot.
Tignan natin kung ano ang sagot ng Team Spirit.
Need some lane pulling shenanigans to be able to withstand this. Like some melee hero that's gonna drag the wave and make Collapse's life a little bit easier.
I feel like that's usually one of the most common approaches against Undying is just you try to avoid the lane. Adding Drow on top of it even makes it more, you make you more inclined to do it. Doom does have a pretty decent recovery though. Like he has a way to farm jungle camps pretty fast. You can stack farm. If you think about how Iron Wing plays with Doom, it tends to not be so focused on the lane, but also like how do we recover this hero quite effectively, and that's usually when you look more towards heroes like Rubik and stuff like the ranged boys.
Uy,
so they have kind
Phantom
of like
Lancer kagad.
What?
Wow.
Okay.
It's been a minute.
Phantom Lancer kagad.
Spirit that picked like first phase PL against.
I think that was XG that picked
It was the other way around.
Yeah, I think
Oh, pwede nilang i-offlane dito yung Undying. Kung ganyan, tapos naka-ano lang, no? Naka-Octarine Core. Kita kagad yung, ano eh, kita yung original na PL pag na-decay eh. Okay. Clockwork naman for their position 4. Draw counter. Matic, oh, madam. Draw counter yan. Ano kaya ang i-item dito ni, ano, ni Satanic?
I feel like mid heroes also fall into the category of what beats PL. PL isn't so much about the carry matchups per se. Like obviously it's good against Drow, but the heroes that cause issues.
Pero timing pa rin, no? Timbersaw.
Seems kind of cool though, right? Like you're
Okay,
PL,
Timbersaw
you
offlane.
Pick Doom for yourself. So things like Ember from the mid lane.
Pwedeng mag-penetrate sa backlines.
Like Tidehunter that could be played from the offlane to itemize against PL. They also don't want to play into Doom, and they just go for a very old school hero in Timbersaw.
I do have a question about the PL Drow because Drow has the hypothermia.
Tapos Necrophos. No? Necrophos.
Like what's that?
There's too many PLs.
Okay, so you're like it does, but it doesn't matter because of the HP.
I mean, it works. Obviously, like it's an effective item, and if you combine it with like some Mjolnir or something, you have a way to play against the hero. But there's so many illusions that it's not like necessarily. It's still PL favorite.
But you can just disjoint it with Doppelganger, right?
Yeah.
Oh, well then yeah, that definitely does not make it feel good at all.
She'll still buy it for sure, and it is like the route you have, and it's a great itemization. You know, you do what you can, and you're looking for the other heroes that are upcoming to do the.
Medyo surprising tong PL pick na to, ha?
On our team is not that bad. Like the hypothermia.
Earthshaker, no? Oo nga, pwede. Pwede.
But, I mean,
kaso may counter eh, no? May counter ng tawag dito, Winter Wyvern. Master ano, hula. Mamaya pa tayo manghula, bro, pag ano na, nakita natin yung last pick. Mukhang kinokontra mo ko, bro, ah. Nainiwala ka ba sa mga sinasabi ko, Kanjo?
That's a big question mark now is how does Spirit actually survive the onslaught that's coming?
O, kinokontra mo.
Yeah, this
Gaya ng dati, madami nangongontra lang eh.
Winter Wyvern, while she does sustain a lot and help in the laning stage, at some point it's going to be too much damage coming out of Willow and coming out of Timbersaw. And every Cold Embrace is going to have a Bedlam and a Chakram on top of whatever target that it is.
Uy, Nathaniel, nandiyan ka pa rin. Thank you.
The scariest piece of this draft. I've seen Notice have games on Timbersaw where he's just completely carried.
Yeah.
Like, at this TI, he's been a bit more quiet, where it's just kind
O,
of...
mag-i-invoker si Larl.
But only a month ago, he was solo winning games.
Invoker!
I do have a question about the clock pick. Like what?
Okay, Pak ni no one.
Other position 4s that are being favorable right now.
It's the wave dragging, right?
Invoker ni Larl ba to? O...
Essentially, they're saying like Mira said, they're gonna decide to not play the lane. They're gonna try to pull the
What
waves,
will it be?
One hero can do this effectively without like too much problems, and
it's almost always melee.
Void
It's
Spirit.
a lot easier because you have the damage block, so creeps don't deal as much damage.
Pwede din.
Also, generally speaking, a harder hero.
Kaso, kailangan niya mag-penetrate sa, sa gitna ng teamfight eh. Oh, Night Stalker. Alright, okay. Ayaw nilang bigyan ng magandang game si No One. So, Night Stalker mid ang pili ng Team Spirit dito. Yes, Night Stalker mid to, guys.
So it is something that people have dabbled with in the past. I think the real
makaka-focus na ng nood dumaan na supervisor. Ayos yan, memes. So, lineup wise, I think I will go for Team Spirit this game.
So I'm always a little bit skeptical.
Magiging mahirap tong game na to para kay Satanic. Number 1, may Night Stalker. Number 2, may Clockwork. Number 3, may Cold Embrace si Ru na napaka-efficient against physical damage. And may Winter's Curse. Dito ang Team Spirit. So, I think this is Team Spirit favored tong draft na to. This game number 2.
There's a lot on Laura's shoulders.
Oo, malilimit pa eh. Malilimit si si Puck gawa ng Night Stalker mid. Unless, 'di ba? Unless tumalong si Larl.
If anything goes wrong, it's going to be really hard. It's also worth noting that Dark Willow shuts down Night Stalker pretty effectively with her Brambles and her Essence Distillers, and it's not the most comfortable NS game outside of the lane.
I like the fact though that Spirit seemingly have that slight edge.
Kayo guys, kinino kayo dito sa lineup na to?
Didn't have favorable lane. So
Or sa draft natin, game number 2.
Tough in the nitty-gritty, Quinn. There is a light.
Taas kamay para sa Team Spirit.
Yeah, I think the lane
Face bump para sa Team Vision.
But I think both mid and safe lane will be pretty solid.
Alrighty, we'll see how game 2 plays out. But before we jump into the game, we're gonna get some more words on this draft and what this series means with Tsunami and Puppy.
Thank you. I'm standing by with Puppy of Team Vision. Puppy, you guys had a very clean group stage, and even now in this
Kay crush lang ako.
how often do you find in tournaments that early losses help you out in figuring out what your team may need to fix as you get deeper into the playoffs?
I mean, there's not enough games actually in this group stage. We only played 4 teams before we went to playoffs. So losses do matter a lot. I think losses actually build the team that actually does win the tournament. But in this case, like we're just trying our best to do whatever we like the most.
Face bump. Si Kuya C. Face bump.
Since you lost so few games, were there any things that you were like, we need to work on this, we need to improve on this, or were you just doubling down on the things that you already are doing well?
Yan natin.
Mostly double downing. But we weren't doing the things correctly anyway, so there's always room for improvement. So we were just trying to figure out exactly.
Eto na, nag-start na yung game guys ha.
Capable of doing it, everything we wanted. So yeah, we're mostly like trying to force our playstyle.
And my last question, I heard in the Chinese interview that you did with Dove after game number 1, draft did not go according to plan.
Okay, both teams under smoke of the seat. Sinong unang magpa-pop ng kanilang smoke? Larl, matatanggal yung smoke niya.
I think I'm aware of craziness, and I do like to do crazy drafts from time to time, so this is not anything, unrealistic for me, so it's fine,
All right, something crazy seems to be happening in the game.
Okay. I guess this is a 2-for-2.
Well, if there's any man who knows what it takes to win, it's that man right
2-for-2 lang. Uy, teka lang, no. That is 3-for-1 in favor of Team Spirit.
Quite a lot because they look like a crazy dominant team. They were good last year. In fact, they had podium finishes.
Ayun nga si Mimay. Kay jowa lang siya.
Players managed to on their TI debut managed to get a finish, and even rare, of course, is winning your very first TI. But what's also pretty rare is back-to-back.
Magandang tanong yan, Mims, ha? Di ko pa na-try yung isa eh. Yung may kabit, di ko pa din na-try. So, mahirap sagutin yan. It'll be interesting to know. Okay. So, dito sa mid lane matchup natin, I think lalamang dito si Larl somehow. Unless mag-overextend, no? Tong si Night Stalker.
The 2 or 3 man kill squads, the lockdown the Puck's going to provide with the damage coming in. The big concern for Spirit here is I see the counterplay they have, I see the counter picks they went for. What is going to deal the damage?
9 class, nangangati siya dun sa Arctic Burn. Sinotis naman, sitting pretty lang yan. Meron siyang reactive armor. Satanic. Medyo malayo yung creep equilibrium nila dito sa tower nila. Pabor to sa Team Spirit. Tamang kulit lang tong Clockwork sa kanyang mga power cogs.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because I
Oo
was
nga
looking
eh.
at that night.
Sana makanood tayo one day, no, ng TI.
Did they have a conversation about like
Ano nang gugulo habang nagsistream? Oh, busy. Mga ano, naglalaro. Roblox is real.
They might have put some extra emphasis on it in this matchup. It is a backline assassin. It is one of those things that can kill unkillable supports quickly, make the game a lot more straightforward to play if you're looking for a numbers advantage. Can also sometimes cause some issues for carries.
Oy, teka lang. Nagbibigayan dito si 9 Class and Rue. Cold Embrace.
Also not something that I think
Ilan na ba asawa? Loko-loko. Dalawa yung anak ko, isa lang yung asawa ko, syempre. Di pwedeng marami. Di tayo pwede mag-Muslim. Inuubos yung puno ni Yatoro. Para hindi masakit yung whirling death. Meanwhile, yung dalawang support dito kanina pa nagbibigayan. Tamang kulitan lang, not me. Tamang pull lang ng creep wave dito para kay Collapse. Ganun din naman ginawa ni Satanic.
They were better at securing his game, I want to say. I think this version of Spirit is better at some
Okay, namatay yung courier ni Rue doon.
super mechanically gifted. They can definitely play a little bit of a faster game if things start rolling. However, I feel like the piece that's been missing for them in some of these is getting over that finish line. Actually getting to a point where Yatoro does scale.
Okay, memes, no problem. Ingat-ingat sa pag-uwi. Eh, teka lang. Nahuli si Ducalis dito. Battery assault. Napakasakit. May power cogs pa. Pero pumapalag si Ducalis. Hindi nga na makapagbitaw ng kanyang tombstone. Kaya ba? Ayun na, first blood. Nakuha ni Collapse. And another gold yan para sa Team Spirit. Extra farm, 125. Yung mid lane, medyo nalulugi si Lurl dito, in fairness. Pinapaliguan lang ni Noah ng kanyang illusory orb. Meanwhile, not me, nandito na sa mid lane. Silence. 9 Class, pumatay na naman ng courier, and this time, courier ni Yatoro yan. So Timbersaw somehow winning this lane against Phantom Lancer. Meanwhile, Ducalis nandito sa mid lane. Gusto lang ubusin ang kanilang mana na itong Clockwork using that power cogs. Maagang napabili ng Infused Raindrop dito si Larl. Mauubos lang din agad yan. 9 Class nandito na din sa mid. And may tombstone tayo coming from Ducalis, and Larl mamamatay. Not me, isusunod. Dalawang supports na lang ang natitira dito sa Team Spirit. Not me. Hindi tinantanan. Mamamatay pa rin, and no one will get the double kill. 2K na ang gold lead dito ng Team Vision. Kaboses mo si Go. Uy, at least bida, no bro? Hindi si Vegeta. Mahirap pag si Vegeta yung kaboses natin. O kaya si Majin Buu. Shoutout sa iyo, Zeus. 1747. Hindi pa rin umaalis si Ducalis dito Tinatambayan, nighttime daw kasi. Kailangan ng konting tulong dito.
First 15 or 20 minutes. It's not Phantom Lancer, and the Doom is in a lane where you're pulling waves.
Yatoro, 26 last hits against 32 last hits dito ni Noticed. Nasasaktan dito ng bahagya yung PL. Nahuli dito si Rue, 9 Class and Ducalis. The support duo will back off.
Did find a shielder. Honestly, probably the better rune you can get here without the bottle. To exist with it mid.
Okay, not me. Behind the tier 1 tower dito ng Team Vision. Nangungulit lang talaga. Gusto lang mangubos ng mana.
Try and use this Night Stalker though. Who are you bringing this Night Stalker to find some extra kills during the night? You gotta do something with him, right? This is not a
Inintay nila dito yung level 6 ni Collapse. Then that will be their first rotation, I guess.
For this Night Stalker to stabilize the game for
No one got the kill. Got the double kill. No one got the double kill. Andito na si Docalis ulit sa top. And I guess this will be an early rotation para dito sa Team Spirit.
They're going to go through the gate and put the pressure on the Phantom Lancer away from these gankers, but they're also going to go through the gate.
Uy, sandwich nga naman talaga. Andun yung power cogs. Nahuli dito si Docalis, and Docalis na lang ang magiging casualty. Meanwhile, Phantom Lancer, magkatabi sila dito ni Satanic. Nahuli na nga ng coil etong si Clockwork. 2 supports down. Nag-TP out na lang etong si Yatoro. Pero naiwan si Collapse dun naiwan si Collapse sa top. So free farming yan. Timberso, medyo makunat. Larl, wala na yung kanyang crippling fear. Pero tamang panggulo lang. Rue na lang ata ang kanilang bibigyan, and Rue will fall on the hands of Satanic. Bossan tayo draft-wise. Early game, bigay ko sa Team Spirit. Late game, Draw Ranger pa rin ako dyan. Well, may late game potential pa rin naman yung PL, no? So, baka Team Spirit tayo dito. Game number 2. Ano standing mga kuys? 1-0 in favor of Team Vision.
Hit the Drow Ranger just non-stop.
If you connect, it's amazing.
So Larl and not me, hinahanap dito yung Satanic, guys. Napakaingat mag-farm ni Satanic. How are you doing this, kid?
Laurel is gonna be very underleveled at this rate.
Whoa. Ayun, makikita nila si Docalis, and looks like Docalis will be the casualty. Somehow, may nangyari dun sa matagal na rotation coming from the Night Stalker. So, Tier 1 tower, isi-secure na ni 9 class. 9 minutes in the game, first tower yan sa mga bet lords natin. Phantom Lancer, nagstay na lang muna sa jungle area. Masyadong magulo. Ika nga nila. No one will go for his. Uy, teka lang, Larl. Okay. Papalag. Pumapalag si no one,
You gotta be careful with it. Don't want to overdo it here. Not the worst nighttime. You have Dark Ascension available.
Sang Kamehameha wave. Medyo galing na konti.
How do you end up there?
Tapos gagawin ko, no? Tapos sasabihin mo, uto-uto ako.
Plus drum, plus phase boost, plus speed aura.
Sige lang, brother. Kamehameha wave.
That's a cool idea.
Nadali mo ako dun, bro,
Notice did take that bottom tower eventually. Automatic kick out on this Phantom Lancer. Nothing Yatoro can do about it. And he is real fat on this.
So PL, power threads pa lang, at saka itong Elven boots of Elven skin. 9 class, and Rue, ito na naman yung support matchups nila. Meanwhile, Drow Ranger, nakaano na siya dito. Dragon Lance. Teka lang. May kaguluhan. Nahuli si Yatoro. Oh no! And Yatoro will fall, pero neutral creeps ang papatay sa kanya, at magiging kapalit si No One, and Larl will get the kill. Okay. Nadali. Na neutral creep. Namatay pa nga si ano doon, si No One.
However, it's great for his Night Stalker. Little extra puck kill going Laurel's way.
Yeah, Laurel's actually not that
Kaboses ba? Thank you. Uy, teka lang. Nag-TP out na lang at walang pang-cancel ng TP. Na-commit pa nga yung tombstone, no? Hookshot will connect dito kay Timbersaw. Daming mana, guys. Andito din si Doom and collapse. Ayun na, si Yatoro ang kumuha ng kill.
They get that kill.
That's huge.
Nag-overstay dun yung Timbersaw. Meanwhile, while all of those were happening, nagpupush lang dito ang Team Vision. Tier 1 tower will be taken down courtesy of Satanic.
I guess you did have some mana burn in this lineup. It's the Cogs. Bringing that Timber's mana down low. Nice spell against him for sure. The Clockwork matchup's quite good.
Alright. Andun yung amplified damage nasa taas and si Collapse ang kukuha niyan. May Doom pa siya dito, guys, ha?
I think it could be going worse for Spirit in some ways, but they're making some nice moves.
Pwedeng bigyan si Noan ulit dito. Namatay na yung Pac. So, ito na nga yung smoke. What will happen? May hookshot ba? May hookshot. Notice! Ayun ang hookshot. Ayun ang Doom. And notice, mamamatay. Pero may Dream Coil coming from no one. Magpapop naman din kagad. Andito din si Rue. And andito na yung Tombstone coming from Ducalis. Hinihil pa dito yung Tombstone. Andito na si Yatoro. And Ducalis will fall. That's 2 heroes down para sa side ng Vision. First use ng Doom.
Insane in this game. There's so little control for him. He just hazed it every fight. He's running the map at 525 MS.
Ito ang kailangan ng Team Spirit. Yung malikot na na offlane. Para mabigyan ng space yung uy, teka lang, Winter's Curse ginamit kay 9 class. Alright, wala siyang dito, Shadow Realm. And 9 class will fall.
This is just Spirit finding open.
Why not nga naman? Why not?
Making something happen in a game that is otherwise going to look very Vision favored. And this is all without the
Yun yung kailangan nila, no? Kailangan nilang pahirapan somehow yung mga lanes dito ng Vision. And nangyayari naman, Collapse.
He's 550.
Ang bilis naman tumakbo ni Collapse dahil doon sa Drum of Endurance. Lagi siya naka-haste. So, sitting pretty pa rin sa top of the net worth natin si Satanic. 6.9k. Hindi kasing hindi kasing bongga nung first game, pero andun pa rin siya sa taas.
Alongside the second nighttime, then they can start cooking a bit more. Laurel's reads in the first nighttime were too easily read, but the extra mobility does give way better opportunity.
Blink Night Stalker plus the Blink Doom coming out, 50-minute nighttime, supports Hebolds. You have way more play options across the map. And maybe it's Vision who are gonna have to be on the defensive a little bit.
Ano kaya next item dito ni Drow Ranger? Mag-ano nga siya. Ganim Scepter, guys. Oy, teka lang, nahuli dito si 9 class, ha? Okay.
Go for another one. Why not? Oh, the cog expired right as he was.
And 9 class, mapapatay ni Not Me.
From the distiller.
Supports are doing work in this game.
As they tend to
kailangan any pick-offs kailangan nilang i-take para lang din hindi komportable yung mapa ng Team Vision. So Team Spirit, eto na yung night time. This is Laurel's time.
That's when his farm is really going to start picking up. This move can
So Drow Ranger,
very deep play. It's hard to find the carries.
Makikita ata nila dito, ha.
They get one deep ward under a century.
May defensive ward naman dito ang may defensive ward, pero ito Laurel makikita, nag-blink out, terrorize, magko-connect doon sa Winter Wyvern, and Winter Wyvern mabilis na mati-take down. Na Dream Coil naman dito yung Clockwork at pinapaliguan ang multi-shot dito ni Satanic. Teka lang, ayun, na neutral creep din. Nag-blink out na lang. Lucky. Lucky daw, lucky.
Indeed, Ducalis says lucky. They couldn't, they had some problems.
Hoy, teka lang, hindi pa tapos. Si Pac naman ang gusto nila dito, pero may rotation coming from Ducalis. Yatoro's here.
Maybe Vision get baited.
Teka, no one. Uy, ito na yung Doom. Na-Doom na si no one, guys. Right click na lang. And mapapatay siya dito ni Larl. Dominating na yung Night Stalker. Meanwhile, Collapse naman ang hinahunt down dito ng Team Vision. And blink out. Napakabilis ng kanyang movement speed. Collapse making plays. Why? It's getting more exciting. Larl hindi pa tapos. Andito pa yung Clockwork. May hook shot ba? May hook shot pero hindi mag-overcommit. Nag-overcommit pa rin. Ducalis running low. Andito pa rin si Larl. And Ducalis will fall. Unlucky. Okay. Clockwork na lang ang magiging consolation prize dito ng Team Vision. Grabe naman. Extended team fights. Guys. Extended team fights. Ito ang nagbibigay buhay para sa Team Spirit. Making space for Yatoro, which is coming for his Aghanim Scepter after makuha yung Manta style.
The damage this family can do if he's not the one just getting focused at the start of a fight. He has two other cores to go in and start things for him. You also have a Clockwork to go in and start things for him. If you can take
Larl with his Blink Dagger. And makikita si Notice. Nag-Timber Chain in pa. Notice, wrong turn. Notice. Masyadong makunat. Buhay pa rin. Nandito na yung team pero napakagandang Winter's Curse coming from Rue. Nahuhuli nila dito si Noah pero may sustain coming from Ducalis. Hindi pa tapos si Notice. Humahanap pa siya ng mas maraming hero. Another silence coming from Larl. And Notice buhay pa rin. Not for so long. Ducalis, nahuli ng Cogs. 9 class, wala ng mana. 9 class mamamatay. And Larl is unstoppable. Running low dito si Ducalis. Ducalis napapalibutan ng mga heroes dito ng Team Spirit. 3 heroes down para sa side ng Vision. Hindi pa tapos. Another extended team fight. Larl. Sinusubukan dito siya. Oy! Pak! Teka lang. And there it is. Wala siyang Blink Dagger. Tago. Hindi siya nakapagtago. Patay din si no one. Wicked sick na yung Night Stalker.
Absolutely outplaying Vision in this.
What's up, Chase? Long time no see.
So much extra gold going in Yatoro's pocket. Such a clutch.
Ito na nga yun. Ito yung timing ng Spirit, guys. Blink Dagger ng Night Stalker. Blink Dagger ng Doom. May shard pa. Ito na naman. Yung Timber Saw. May na-doom na nga yung Timber Saw. Patay yung 9 class. Patay din si Notice. And Collapse will take that kill. Killing spree.
They have absolutely stepped up in this game too. Just out of nowhere, this game has become a feeding frenzy. Vision need to find a way to stabilize. They need to slow this game down.
Wow.
Regroup. Control the map.
Team Spirit coming back in this series. Gusto nila ng game number 3. Pabor to, guys, para sa mga may fantasy points ng Team Vision and Team Spirit. The more games, the better.
The crazy thing is I don't even view their lineup as this fast.
Meanwhile, Drow Ranger, meron na ditong Aghanim Scepter. Hindi lang natin alam kung it will be enough to take down the Phantom Lancer later in this game. Okay, working on his BKB Larl. He's making it work. This Night Stalker pick, the last pick for Team Spirit. So far, so good. Meanwhile, masyado nang malalim dito yung Clockwork. Nag-hook shot out, and it will be successful. What a play coming from Not Me. Wow.
The Axe is almost done for the Phantom Lancer. His
You can't kill the king.
Still have Satanic at the top of that net worth chart.
Making some moves.
Does not have the carry matchup at all in this game. You cannot rely on him to come in and deal with the Yatoro if the Timbersaw gets doomed, if the puck gets found by the Night Stalker. This is the teamfight advantage that Spirit has.
Eto na si Yatoro, guys. Aghanim Scepter is up for this Phantom Lancer.
To free the fight up for the Phantom Lancer.
This will be scary for Team Vision. Meanwhile, Pak, meron na siyang Blink Dagger dito into Witchblade. Merong Smoke of Deceit ang Team Spirit. Pwedeng mag-Dark Ascension dito yung Night Stalker to hunt down this Pak.
Into follow-up spells, no one gets out of there. You really have to be careful in this game as Puck. If you get cursed, if you get hookshot, there's going to be follow-up chain stun silence from the Night Stalker, the Doom, the other support. All of these spells can be death sentences for no one in this game. We'll likely see him go some early defensive item here. I'd say you
kita sa ward ata yun, yung ginawa doon ng Clockwork.
It's expensive. It's going to take some time.
So 3k gold lead, kalamangan dito ng Team Spirit. At second to the top of the net worth pa rin naman si Satanic, but hindi siya hindi siya yung sobrang uy, teka lang. Eto na ang Night Stalker, Ducalis. Isusunod ka na pagkatapos mapatay ni 9 class. Naka-amplify damage pa to, guys, Satanic. Dito lang muna. Uy.
He's thinking about that Satanic kill with the amp damage. He blinks away. No one who's kind of pushing out. Thought, okay, maybe.
And magde-ward dito si Not Me.
They deal with the ward. Not Me. They can't even go after him.
That's a super nice D-ward because the only two wards on the
wow, BKB na si Collapse, guys.
So Vision are just not
Melvin Sandoval, shout out, bro.
In the next 5 minutes or so.
Kaya yan late game, sabi dito ni Kuya. Tignan natin, bro. I mean, yung timing talaga ng Team Spirit mas maaga. And yung lineup ng Party Vision magbabase yan sa tawag dito, farm nung Drow Ranger na hindi naman nahuhuli, pero ang dami ng items ng Team Spirit. Yung Timbersaw, sobrang controlled yung game niya gawa ng Doom. Ganun din naman yung game ng Puck dahil dun sa Night Stalker. And so far, maganda yung performance ng Clockwork. Ayan na naman, another hook shot connecting dito from Not Me. Ducalis na dito. Uy, teka lang. Eto na. Pumalag na yung Drow Ranger. And Yatoro na coil. Yun lang. Masyadong malalim, my friend. Masyadong malalim. Eto na. A little bit of window para sa Team Vision. Hindi in-expect yun ng Team Spirit na magko-commit. And Satanic, what are you doing there? And he's still gonna fall. So, tanggal ang killing spree dito ni Satanic. Yeah, masyado siyang doon, nag-overstay din. Collapse. Top of the net worth.
4-0 and 6, a perfect Doom performance here so far.
4-0-6. Oo nga, no? Hindi pa namamatay si Collapse, guys, Hindi pa namamatay itong Doom. Yung Timbersaw, hindi natin masyadong ramdam dito sa game na to. Not Me. Available na naman yung kanyang hookshot at nandito din yung Night Stalker. Ayan na nga, ang Nighttime Notice. Siya ang gusto dito. And teleport out. Meanwhile, 9 class, naba-battery assault, and 9 class na lang daw. Ang casualty. Beyond godlike na. Etong si Larl.
This is a scary nighttime period for Vision right now. Really scary.
You cannot nahuli ata si no one doon. No one makakapag-blink out ba? And TP out na lang. Walang pang-cancel ng TP ang Team Vision. Yung Dream Coil lang, guys, at saka yung Bramble Maze. So 4K na yung gold lead dito ng Team Spirit. Larl, ini-enjoy dito yung nighttime. Pinapalit ang mapa ng Team Vision. Kinukulit lang itong Timbersaw ng Clockwork. Sobrang annoying.
He doesn't care if you know he's there. He's gonna burn you out with at least 2 of them every time.
There's a lot of map control going Spirit's way during this nighttime, especially with the D-wards we mentioned earlier. This is kind of at the end of that 5-minute interval where Vision didn't have another set of obs to get on the map. They're flying here in this nighttime. They're very low on information. You don't know if this PL is just trying to do the Roach right now. You don't know if the Night Stalker is running.
Dito yung 4-man ng Team Vision, guys.
Need to get this mid lane out so you can just see something in this game.
Si Laurel may BKB to guys Walang BKB penetrating spells dito ang Vision. So pwedeng mag BKB TP out lang. Game 2. Game 2 na Vic. Game 1 nanalo Vision.
So they are threatening Roshan in a way. Something Vision kind of have to
What's up?
deal with.
They're definitely getting the clump out of it.
And Team Spirit not clumping at all. You've got Collapse from the top side, Yatoro bottom, Laurel sweeping through the map, same as the supports, but in different areas.
It's rare we see.
Ayun na, pinapalit na yung mapa nung Draw Ranger. Wala siyang makikitang creeps dito. Pero Manta style naman na si Satanic. Next item niya will be Butterfly. Larl, iikot sa baba. Makikita sa mapa. Si Timbersaw naka-BKB na. But he needs more damage. He needs more damage. I mean like items. I mean Phantom Lancer ready na sa kanyang Eye of Skadi.
That's what it feels like.
Right? Like you have so much map control.
I would be really
Collapse naman, Shiva's Guard is up. May Blink Dagger dito sa Winter Wyvern. And of course, yung Glimmer Cape. Bumili na din ng gem itong Clockwork. 5-man smoke coming from Team Vision. Sinama na nila. Uy, Collapse! Hindi tumama! At nadum nga dito yung Timber. So magti-TP out lang pero napapalibutan siya ng Phantom Lancer. Mamamatay kaagad si Dokalis. Satanic napalibutan ng PL. Buhay pa rin ba? May 4 staff out. Papalag na lang daw si Satanic. Ganun na din naman. Mamamatay si Satanic. Mamamatay si Noan. Patay din dito si 9 class. And GG was cold. 28 minutes. We have game number 3, guys. Game number 3.
Cannot believe they called it there. Maybe that game was going to be really.
That was pretty quick.
It certainly looked like PL.
At ayun na nga, nadali doon ng Team Vision.
You're getting run down. Was that game over completely?
Alright, so shoutout sa lahat guys. 150 viewers. Magbe-break lang tayo ng konti. We will be right back for game number 3. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe guys kung di pa kayo nakaka-subscribe. Thank you.
Like a tilt, and I don't fully understand why. You know, like, okay, they got, things really snowballed really badly, and that, it was like 15 to...
Okay, but here's the thing I go back to. You lose that fight, you get team life, you're going to be down 12 or 13k, they get Roche. That game state's terrible. But what you have to say is you had 2 picks to counter this Phantom Lancer. You should not be in that game thinking to yourself, man, we're on a clock, and the second the PL wins 1 fight, this game is over. Because if you're in that situation, you feel that way after you had 2 core counter picks this hero, then you're in for a rough draft game 3. Like, he's going to first pick Phantom Lancer, and what are you doing?
I mean, Yotaro might want that purely because of the fact that he didn't get to play a game. He, showed up to one team fight, said, hell yeah, this is great. Wait, the game's over? What happened?
All it takes is a couple Manta dodges, and suddenly Vision are Manta dodged off this stadium right now. Brutal stuff. What a way to that game to end.
Spirit even up the series against Vision.
An unprecedented, I want to say, early GG out of this game. We don't normally get that at TI. Teams fight till the very end, the bitter end. But on the side of Vision, they say, we realize we don't have any answers to this Phantom Lancer. Had way too much time for himself to be able to get online. And Insania, we heard Cap and SVG mention it. You had a lot of the draft to do it. You had what should have been a slightly better lanes for yourselves to be able to snowball into something. But Spirit really showed up for game 2.
I mean, I think Spirit just completely played 5 times better. It was just unbelievable. It wasn't close. They out-execute them. I think they have a much harder draft to play. I think if I'm Puppy, I look at these heroes, I'm like, yeah, I like our draft. We have good setups. We have good ways to snowball this game. We have ways to deal with PL later. We have a pretty free puck game, but somehow Spirit finds like these small openings. And I think this is the same thing that I saw in game 1, which is signs of Spirit just outperforming their matchups.
Yeah, that was a masterclass. It was actually beautiful to watch. Some of these team fights and these little executions, the individual play from all the players. Laurel is beyond godlike. Not me is the most annoying player I've ever seen playing a game in this game with the cogs. They all stepped up. Pio with the Manta dodges like he's Arteezy. This game was like, holy crap, that was impressive.
Yeah, I just love to see Laurel not be shafted, to be honest, because people forget Laurel's also a TI veteran. He does have an Aegis under his belt. He has delivered many times for this team, and if you put him in a position where he gets the counter pick and he gets to play the game, you can absolutely depend on him. He's such a dependable player, and the end-all be-all Yatoro strategy, we didn't see it in this game too. It looked infinitely better.
Yeah, I fully agree. I think, honestly, that the fact that they gave Laurel a real game and he wasn't just completely sent to the wolves was a huge and pivotal turning point. Like, Laurel was everywhere. He's a part of every kill. We talked about how their other two cores are greedy and we need someone to connect. Well, Laurel connected to just about everything, and Collapse also bought Drum and Blink, shifted from the normal Doom gameplay we'd see a little bit, and he's fighting too. Even PL is coming to the fights pretty early on. Like, they all recognized, I think, why they lost the last game and changed course quite a bit.
I love that, right? They go, okay, we want to put this all in for Yatoro. Everything felt like we want to wait for him. But at the end of the day, we look at it, you have someone like Nightstalker that can do so much early. We have this Doom that when it comes to that mid part, he's still able to have a great initiation, be able to try and put numbers in your favor, because a Doomed hero feels like pretty much a hero that's dead. You can't really do much more there, Effie. So I just love it. Spirit having so much more for themselves into this. But at the same time, like, you see these cores building up for themselves. The Winter Wyvern is the one, again, for me that I want to go back to, because you like to pick something up, whether it's to dissuade the Lone Druid, which has been favorable for these two teams or not, still ends up having a great impact for them, and not just this dead weight of a support that we picked early and then didn't amount to much.
For sure. I mean, Rue is such an impressive player, and one of the things that goes understated about Rue is that he doesn't need to be the main character. Like, picking up a Wyvern early in the draft just for the sake of the draft and not for his own gameplay, and just kind of being a guy who's just going to be able to help his team with teamfight, he does that very well. He was able to take a step back and allow Not Me to take his role as the position 4. He transitioned to position 5 comfortably, and that's not something, Aiden, that most people can do. Most people don't want to give up the role they've practiced for so long.
It's also, you underestimate how different position 4 and 5 are. I think for many, many years they were quite interchangeable, but I think the skill set that players have developed over the years as a 5 and a 4 vary greatly. And Rue, honestly, he's not been around for that long.
Yeah.
He's been on the pro scene for 2 or maybe even, is it 3 years? I think it's 2 years.
I want to say 2 because it was that time where we saw a lot of Spirit plays take a break right after the Seattle TI, the Copenhagen TI. That's where he came in. A couple of people took breaks, and then we didn't know how long he was going to stick around, who was going to come back for them, and it was this sort of soft way of them wanting to replace Mira, who used to be their position 4.
Yeah, he joined after TI 13, and it's just been a really incredible journey for him. You always sing his praises about how he's such
I think
a good player.
when he first came to Spirit, I honestly thought he was quite a weak player. Like, he came up from the tier 2 scene, he didn't have the experience, and I remember laning against him, it felt like this guy is like, does not know what he's doing, and we used to make jokes about how Collapse misses Mira all the time, but by the end of that same season, it was incredible how fast he learned, and that speaks to his talents. Like, it's very difficult to learn Pro Dota that fast as he did, and now he's transitioned to 5, and I personally think Spirit's support duo is the best support duo in the world.
Yeah, I know when I play pubs with this guy, he's just always in the right place at the right time. Some players you play with, I wish this guy was here, or why isn't this guy doing that? With that guy, it's like, man, he's here. That's awesome. Like, it's the whole feeling is like he just is always in the right place at the right time. When Poshka says he's trying to teach them, and they learn slowly, but they're learning. To me, that's what I think of. This guy, I feel like he just gets better over time. He's like the opposite of Milk. He is just, I don't know, he's just a beast.
Wine is normally the opposite of Milk, by the way, Quinn, in terms of aging.
I'll note that down for future use.
You can have that one for free.
He really is a beast. But I do want to talk about how Team Spirit channeled their TI magic in this game too. We can praise the support duo over and over, but I really do think Yatoro, Laurel, and Collapse delivered. Every single one of them brought their A-game, and something that they did this game that I thought was so cool was that they brought all 5 of their heroes to the safe lane early on. They all connected to PL, and they killed the Timbersaw that was diving his tier 1. Usually you don't bring both of your other cores from other lanes to early moves like that.
Yeah, and I think this is a really old concept of Dota that we've talked about earlier on the panels too, but you pick slow heroes and then you play them really fast. You have this PL that's considered a slow hero. You have Doom that's also considered a slow hero. And the way you buy time for yourself is by connecting to these early moves and finding the opportunities where you can outnumber your opponents. Because every time you get kills, essentially what you're doing is buying yourself more time.
Yeah, no, it's super true. And I think also the best place to do that is, like Mary said, at these towers oftentimes. Because if your heroes don't naturally fight and kill stuff, that often means they lack catch. And so you want them to be close to you because that means they're already overextended. So you can kind of just run them down, which allows you to actually get your damage off, which is why in modern Dota, towers are so important because it's a place to fight. It's not so much that you have a place to TP and that it like keeps the map state. There's some truth to that. But a lot of it is it lets lineups that don't have natural ways to fight have a way to fight, especially when you're waiting for that overextension. There's such a fine, delicate balance of where the enemy walks. Are they over the invisible line? And as soon as they cross, bam, Spirit snaps, they jump, and they win fights. And it's so true. It buys you so much time.
I feel like that's also like the Miposhka influence, because like Spirit's way of making moves is through baits. It's been their MO for so long, and I think throughout the season, Spirits look kind of like a different team, but ever since Miposhka has joined, I'm now seeing like his influence seeping into them, and they're finding those opportunities to make those moves that they used to do with him.
He did say as well that in the coach interview after game one, he's like, I'm trying to give them all the lessons I can. And then Neil follows up like, how are the players taking that? He's like, slowly. And look, maybe the game one was the slow idea there, but game number two, it felt like everything really ramped up. And I love that Miposhka not only is offering so much when it comes to guiding these players and how they play, but of course in the draft, right? That's where we really see a lot of impact when it comes to coaches and not losing the idea or the faith behind the Night Stalker. It was in that off lane, did still do really well for them in game one, but to pick it up, shift it to mid, and give Lal the playstyle, the opportunity to demonstrate why they're so confident in picking it in back-to-back games. Look at this, 12-1 and 7 at the 28-minute mark. That isn't 28-minute mark of the game. That's the end of the game. That's when GG was called compared to no one's puck, which was 3-4 and 2.
This just brings me back to you can count on Laurel. Like, oftentimes he's put in situations where because he's so able to tank bad lanes and he's so able to be a sacrificial pawn during the drafting stage, we don't really see him have performances like this. But when we see him get heroes like counterpicks to a puck with a Night Stalker, when we see those rare Invoker games where he has like an axe set up for him, he can put the game on his shoulders. And the big difference from game one to game two to me is very impressive because a team to adjust their playstyle entirely in one map, it's hard to do.
I think it speaks to Laurel's skill as well, because like while he's enabled in his like hero to hero matchup mid, he has nothing really to play with. He has like an Eel, a Doom, a Wyvern, and a Clock. Like it's not natural combos that you would think like because Ennis wants to silence the guy and then he just dies. But there's nothing to dump on top of it. And you could see how they were fighting. Like there was some team fight where they commit on the Timber Saw and he's like silencing him and they're hitting him the entire time. Timber's not dying. And then they reset back and wait for the silence to come off cooldown again and then recommit. And I think these things require so much skill for you to time correctly. Because if you're off by half a millisecond, you're caught and you're done.
Yeah, there was even one moment where we laughed about in the green room because Yatoro and PL just ran mid because Yatoro didn't have anybody. So like, oh, okay, I guess I'm coming. And he gave them a few right clicks during a crippling fear and they didn't get the kill. But the fact that they were moving PL to the Night Stalker means that they were aware of this too. But they somehow made it happen.
Yeah, I think it's actually an unbelievably difficult thing to pull off in games. And I think it's one of the most beautiful and high skill parts of the game is whenever you walk into the kitchen and there's no like normal ingredients and you've still got to make something great, like it's very hard. And he takes a radish and a knife and a pizza and he ends up with something gorgeous.
A whole pizza already.
That's right. And I think like you see it in this game. Like how do you combine these heroes? And that's one of, I don't know, that's something you build over time is these situations. Okay, the draft is the way it is. Now, how do we play good Dota with the weird tools we've been given that worked well together later, but early on it's not as obvious? Like it's so impressive and difficult. Watching this game backstage, we're all like amazed. It's so fun to watch. We're locked in, like we're watching a Christopher Nolan movie because it's it's cinema.
If you had to title it, what would you?
Maybe the Odyssey.
I don't know if that's his best one, but I'll give it to that. Yeah. For sure. There's like one extra bit about it as well. It's almost this mental game because we're talking about, okay, they poke a little bit, they reset, and then they re-engage. There's a lot of times as well where we see them poke, they fully disengage, and they're getting reactions out of Vision. But now they go to re-engage, and Vision go, we don't want to react because they're probably just doing this whole, oh, they're poking at us, and they're not actually going to commit. they fully commit, and that's it. Now your Timber Soul is gone. They fully commit. Your Puck's gone. They do it again. They disengage, and you've reacted to it. So I think also that mental back and forth toying with Vision was something that really treated them well with the heroes and toolkits they had.
That's a great point that you bring, and it begs the question of the early GG. We haven't really talked about it, but it's not something that we see at TI where teams just give up after a bad fight. Can you guys shed some light on why that happened?
I think it's like Puppy also talked about it in his interview where he says like you build at TI you need to have some losses to build like stuff and learn from it, and there's not enough games at this TI. They've won all their games in the groups. They played 4 teams, won all their games, came to playoffs. They lost 1 game, but they won the series. So they haven't had that experience of experiencing defeat. And if you want to be a TI winner, you're going to have to go through that part as well. You're going to run into losses.
Yeah, and it's weird to like have that loss, to be in a rough position to say, you know what, call it quits. Because I think the teams that win TI are the teams that play hard games. I remember playing against Spirit in the finals and being up 15k gold, and they come back and they beat us and they lift the Aegis. And I think at the same time, while that game is hard and I don't think their odds of winning are very high, I also think it's not great practice for the future of the tournament to just be snap calling GG like that. Because to me, the fact that Satanic said it and there's a delay before the others say it, to me it feels like I'm pissed, I'm dead, I'm calling GG as sort of like a I know best type deal, and it can be okay. You can recover from that, people can agree, but at the same time, it's a little contentious.
I do wonder about it because Team Spirit would never call GG in a position like that. They're the team known for playing the hardest games and dragging them out until the very end. And if you mentioned that Satanic did it before everyone else, is that okay? I mean, it's hard for me to understand whether this was good or bad, because you can make an argument that they knew it was over and they didn't want to waste time and energy, but you can also make an argument that
I think those situations do exist where like sometimes it's just better to call the game and like let's reset and go head over to the next game. But I agree with Quinn that the way it was done here didn't feel like one of those moments where everybody's like, you know what, we messed up so much that we should just drop this game and move on and go to the next one. It more felt like where did that come from? You know, like they just called it. Satanic calls it and nothing happens from a couple of teammates, and then the GG start rolling in. They're like, oh, okay, I guess it's GG.
That was like an Ame style GG.
Yeah, I think we got a new emote.
The Spirit comparison is pretty fair, though. They've said it multiple times in different iterations of Spirit that if as long as one person has one idea to see an avenue back into a game, not even winning it, but back into the game, that's enough for them to not want to call GG. But not to not have a conversation around it. I will also add a grain of salt, or tell everyone to take it with a grain of salt, because you weren't liking the vibes coming out from Spirit after game 1, Quinn. You're like, it seems a little tense in the Spirit camp. I'm not sure if they're going to reset for game 2. You're building up this whole, Vision's got it on luck type of narrative.
Yeah, apparently I'm just bad at reading people. So take what I say with maybe not a grain, but an entire shaker of salt. But no, I think I don't know. Like, so you saw Satanic smiling after, and you also have to keep in mind that he's a kid. And some of the players on his team are a lot older and more experienced. You look at No One and Puppy. Like, I think they have the experience and the wherewithal to come out from that, say it's fine. You know, the game was very hard. We're probably going to lose anyway. And you can, like, it's not some, I don't know, it's not some end-all, be-all, some doomsday thing to call GG like that. You can cover from that. It may not be ideal, but it's also okay.
Yeah, for sure. And that's like where I think people like No One or Puppy, where you're going to tell someone like this. Let's say, we don't know, we're speculating, right? But let's say Satanic is tilted. You tell them, like, these opportunities, there's only so many of them that you're going to come across. There's only so many times you're going to be at TI main stage with a good team around you coming in as favorites. And let's not waste this opportunity by being upset in this moment. Let's reset, go into the next game, being fresh. It's 0-0, right? We start over from scratch. There's nothing from the last game actually affects the next game if we don't carry emotion over.
Yep. 9 class is zoned out just thinking about Pudge. He's like, I played a regular hero. That wasn't fun for me.
I missed the Monkey King patch. Pick me, Bounty Hunter. Pick me, Clockwork. Anything.
Yeah, I think, honestly, his progression as a player is so interesting because he was one of the most unique players ever whenever he first entered the scene. The way he played Dota was unlike anything I've ever seen. It was completely bizarre and strange. And to then go from the weirdest player ever to now someone who plays normal heroes and is a cog in a machine rather than some other machine entirely, that's such a wild transition. And I think it makes him such an incredibly interesting player to watch and see how he changes.
You know what I really like about him? He started off being like an old Techies player.
Yeah.
Like the original Techies.
Oh, you should have just started with that then.
So he played that. The hero gets reworked, essentially just disappears from the game. And I think at the time he was like a top 100-ish ranked player. His hero disappears. He loses a bunch of MMR and then comes back to becoming a pro player with other heroes.
Hopefully we get to see some more of that old techies and style come into Game 3.
Team Spirit versus Team Vision. Game 3.
Whether you love it or hate it, you have to acknowledge that that is a flare of 9 class, a flare of Vision. We've only gotten to see in dabbles here and there of the last few months, and hopefully they go back to that. It is an elimination for them. We're looking at the upper bracket here, but a win top 3 at the bare minimum. That's something you would love to be able to do, especially Vision. That would be back-to-back TIs of a top 3 finish. For Spirit, it would be getting back into that top 3 form for themselves after missing out on main stage for 2 years in a row. Looking at our bans or our draft in general here, not so much just our bans, we're going to have Vision be our first pick. That's similar to game number 2, how it went in draft order. And looking down the list of the bans, there is a small change up. Vision have left Lena in the pool and decided to ban out Darkseer instead.
Yeah, the Nature's Prophet is also first phase banned. Was it last game?
No, it was not. It was second phase. It was Coddle that was in that place.
Okay. So that is a very potent 9 class hero, but they're just going to rip a Shadow Fiend. Man, it's so hard to predict what this team will do.
It's crazy. I think SF last game was also in the pool, and they didn't pick it. They ended up being a second phase ban for them. So they decided to go a different route here. I find the NP ban so interesting, because I feel like for Spirit, that means like we now played against them without NP, and they've just looked like a completely different team. They weren't able to find that tempo, they weren't able to find that ramp, and we had like essentially like the most possible solo losing offlane ever. So playing up against SF, one of the biggest threats is you just get destroyed on your lane. And we're happy to give them that so long as we get our Wyvern.
Yeah, it could be that what they had planned for the NP today was the TV, and it didn't work out for them, and they don't have a plan B against it.
Yeah, it is very possible and very smart, I think. I like the idea if you come in, you have one strategy, the strategy doesn't work, and you're like, okay, let's not disrespect this. And how the bans move and when the draft happens is very interesting from game to game. I totally agree with that read that, like, okay, we're going to ban it second phase. Like, we're okay if they first overall it. But then they lose, they get smacked, and they're like, okay, now we're going to move it up a little bit because maybe they want to go back to comfort. Like, a lot of draft is the ideas and the technical aspects of the heroes, how they match up against each other. But there's another level that is reading what they want. What do they actually want to play? What's comfortable for them? Are they, they're on the back foot. When you're the back foot, well, you go to something that's comfortable, that's chill. And so that ban, maybe there's more psychology than actual like practicality to it.
And on top of that, it's like within their comfort, what makes us unable to play our comfort? And it seems to be like the Nature's Prophet, the tempo that it brought, it was too difficult for them to play. And I think this current Spirit, we see it in the last game, and they want to be able to set some degree of pace. They're not as passive as the old Spirit. They're not as okay with being ran out as the old Spirit. So I like the removal of the NP. What's really interesting is that the Coddle gets skipped now by Vision. And do Spirit decide to ban it, or is it left through for another phase?
Yeah, it's a tricky one. It's very good against Wyvern because you're not trying to pressure the lane, right? He's playing for the heal and the harass, like I mentioned last game. Well, Coddle's like, yeah, sure, whatever you want. And he stacks the camps and he gets super farmed. And then you get into this mid game where he's got all the heals of his own and he's got the slow and the magic amp and he plays some very long range. So it's hard for Wyvern to actually get good curses off. So I could definitely see it being a potential hero that the 9 class goes for.
Yeah, I mean, going for Coddle would mean that it's about enabling no one from the mid lane. And something that I did want to bring up was that Notice was put in a situation where he could shine. He was the solution to PL with his Timbersaw. He got a Dark Willow and he had a very strong laning phase, but he couldn't turn it into anything. And that's very rare from Notice because he had a fantastic performance 1 month ago at EWT where he looked like the best player on that team. It seems like he's had a bit of a weaker TI showing, despite Team Vision doing so well. I've just seen him in a better state.
I think that might be the case, but I also feel like it doesn't matter if you're Miracle or who you are. When you get doomed, you don't get to play the game, right? So, and he was getting doomed. He was the target of being silenced. They were not letting him click his buttons. So I think that's just where I credit that to Spirit. I think Notice was put in a rough position in that regard.
On that note, Doom's won both games this series, and it's got to have gone up in value now.
Yeah, you would think so. But it's like, it's funny because last game you picked the Doom blind and then they countered you with the Drow Ranger. It's a slightly different tone in this game in that you would be picking Doom into Shadow Fiend, which is also one of the biggest counters to Doom. And there's a bit different picking hero and saying, counter me, compared to seeing a counter and said, I'm down to be countered, and just walking right into it. Like, there's a different feeling to that.
Yeah. I mean, this pick is really interesting because usually, like, you're on second pick, you pick a support. The next follow-up pick that you want to pick here is a core. Also, we didn't mention it, but the Coddle is banned. So Spirit recognizes the same thing that we talked about, where they are able to be able to dodge the lane that way. And for Wyvern, you absolutely do not want that. So yeah, here you generally try to look for a core hero, but this core hero is very blind. Like, you only see the SF. SF at the moment is a hero that's quite stable in almost every single game. I think it's quite hard hero to counterpick just like 1-to-1. Usually you want to set up a strategy that beats it at the end of the line.
Wow.
Wow, good? Or...
Wow, good.
Okay.
A bit surprising because I think Spirit's not been a team that's prioritized Invoker a ton, but in the same way that a Coddle will be good against a Wyvern because you outrange him and you play a slower fight, it's the same way that Invoker is good against Shadow Fiend. Shadow Fiend wants to sit there and hit people, and he's a stationary dude, and he's getting Tornado, he's getting Deafening Blasted, Cold Snapped, and getting kited, and so we can't actually get all of his immense damage off. And so I think when you combine that with a Winter Wyvern, it's a lineup that makes it very difficult for Shadow Fiend to actually function because he gets kited and people get Cold Embrace that he goes on.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's just psychologically, it also says that Team Spirit, after that game too, they're like, we love you, Laurel. You're good at Dota. Like, let's go back to some of our old school strategies, because while we only saw him play Invoker one time this TI, it is a strategy they used to run often, particularly with Axe on the off lane and like a stunning carry from the safe lane, like a Tiny or a Savannah or something, and they would just give him as many Sunstrike kills as possible, then he would run over the map.
I think it's also cool that Invo is one of those heroes that can kind of play a lane and have very low CS and recover his game through kills, through Sunstrikes on the side lanes. So you pick him quite early and you tell Vision that you can counter me and I'm going to be fine with that because I can recover in other ways. But they decide to go with Ember, which is another hero that's a little bit of the same kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And I guess, Quinn, you can explain it better than anybody.
Yeah, I mean, the hero is just, like, these two heroes, they lack a lot of solid lockdown. So if you get cursed, and then there's an Invoker there, how can they kill you, right? You can just press Slight and Remnant away. And on the inverse, you've got Chains, you've got something that can really hold the Invoker in place, and you've got the Shadow Fiend who's being kited. And so these follow-up picks, you want them to have tools to actually lock these Spirit heroes in place, to let your Shadow Fiend have a way to interact with the enemy heroes. You're enabling this hero that has been countered, and so you need to pick stuff to help him get back into the game, as he's been taken out a little bit by the Invoker and Wyvern and Ember, Willow. Now you've got multiple routes, lots of disables, lots of stuff to help your Shadow Fiend. I think these picks with your first pick make a lot of sense.
I also think it's the first time this series that we see an honest matchup mid. We have the Slark against the Ember that is like very one-sided, NS against Puck that to some degree is very one-sided as the NS comes online. But Invoker and Ember are like classic honest mid heroes. It's like skill heroes that don't necessarily screw each other's game over, and they're both gonna have like a decent chance to play the game.
Yeah, it's cool, and I think it's a lane that can swing one way or the other a decent amount, pending skill. Like, I think it can be a lane that can be 60-40 either side, and there aren't many matchups that actually can be like that. It could even go further than 60-40 depending on skill. So I'm looking forward to see how they lock in for the game 3.
Do you guys think that Largo may be an issue for Team Spirit, because you've got this Ember, like the Ember-Largo combination popped off quite a bit? Is it something they're concerned about? Do they want to ban it? Do they want to just let it happen? How do their heroes fare against it?
In my mind, Invoker is quite good against Largo because he has such high single target burst damage when he clicks all his spells on one dude. And they have the Finger of Death, they have the Underlord, they have a lot of like damage that they can just pump onto a target and keep him in place. So I'm not sure. It might still be a good pick for them, just like you said, because of the innate combinations that they have with their own heroes. But I love these heroes from Spirit. They see Ember likes mobility, he hates playing his instant disables. They go strongest disabling offlaner into strongest disabling +4.
Yeah, it's a great response. Spirit loves making sure that none of your heroes are immortal. They hate when one guy is untouched and has a free game, and they love to respond in ways that we can always kill everyone. We don't want to have a situation where you're immortal. I think that's Spirit's worst nightmare as a team, and so this directly addresses the Ember, but good old Satan's back in the game.
I mean, Doom won both games so far, but I will say it looks like a less scary hero versus Spirit than it did in the game 1, where they had one core in the Terrorblade, and they had an Ember that was shut down, so there wasn't really a means to play against the Doom. This time around, the Underlord's going to be strong. The Invoker's gonna have a game regardless of what happens, and there's still the Yatoro hero that you don't see. So there's a tri-core that you have to pick one, and the other two can carry the game after that. And when Doom plays against dual-core or tri-core lineups, it's a lot more complicated than it was in game 1.
We were playing Guess Who with that shot, by the way. Do you know whose back of the head that was?
I believe that's Zhao 8.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I was curious who's back of the head is so significant. That makes sense. TI winner. Yeah, I think the other element of why it's a trickier Doom game is they've got a lot of ways to disengage.
Yeah.
If he dooms a guy, suddenly he gets cursed. Yeah. Or if he doesn't pop BKB, he gets pitted or line stunned or tornadoed, and they just run away. Like that is one of the best ways to deal with Doom is he presses it, and sure, you're stunned for an hour. But if you just run away and you reset that, then that's probably the ideal way to deal with it.
And we haven't seen it come online in the series because the games have been so fast, but this Aghanim's Doom with Shiva's Guard is a really big problem, and Wyvern kind of pre-solves it. Because it's one of the few ways that you can peel that Doom off of yourself, so you can play that game out. I agree. It doesn't look as quite as scary like end game and boss Doom in this game.
Oh, yeah, you know who's missing though is Yatoro.
I was gonna say it, but he's overall last pick, so I was like, I kind of want to focus on Vision a little bit more. But gosh, there's always a joy in knowing that Spirit are gonna last pick overall a Yatoro hero. But he is gonna see everything before we even get to that.
This position's kind of interesting when you're Pulse 5 because you're not used to getting last picked, right? When you play your practice games in your pubs, you're almost always first picking your hero, and being in a position where you get to see the entirety of the enemy draft, it kind of can get into your head of like, I need to find something special. I need to find something unique because I can finally last pick my hero with all this information, and I'm going to pick the hero that people always first pick in Mirana.
It's a good combination with Ember's chains. It'll give them a lot of kill threat early on. Like this support duo with Ember is very strong. There's a lot of damage, there's a lot of layering stuns, there's a lot of follow-up. The only thing that Mirana lacks this game is a save. When you play against Lion drafts, it's going to be, we're going to blink Hex, insta-burst you, and you're going to die. There's nothing really offsetting that for Team Vision, so they have to be the aggressors with the way that they've set their draft up.
I think Mirana's only way to become a save in this game is to buy a 4-star. And
or
a really
Wind
good or a Wind Waker, yeah. But that's very far down.
If it gets there.
Yeah, exactly. So you see on Spirit's side, they have a lot of stuns that they want to throw damage on top of. And 4-staff is the best way to like break those kinds of combinations.
I mean, this Sven is just setting up for Laurel's Invoker. Like we mentioned, stuns on side lanes, that's what you need.
Yeah,
how early can Sven end up joining, right? Because that's what we also kind of lacked in certain games that Spirit have won for themselves, is Yatoro being able to do either early rotations mid, going through those twin gates, joining team fights between the 12 and 15 minute mark.
I could definitely see something through the twin gates, and I could see people come to him with the Underlord pit. It is a game where I think they're going to have to get creative again because Invoker super stationary, Sven typically very stationary, and same with Underlord. He wants to gate into things, and so I think it's a game where Spirit they have to exercise those Dota memories and the muscles of the things you've seen, how you can combine heroes in different ways because it's not overly clear.
I do like it though, conceptually. Like you have the Lion plus pit set up on the side for Sunstrikes, then you have the Sven and the Wyvern who are also going to be able to give them to Laurel. And this BKB timing will be strong. Like you've got the Warcry armor to fight into a Shadow Fiend. His biggest strength is minus armor, and you're protecting your whole team. The God strength is really good against Doom because if you get Doomed and you've ulted, it doesn't matter. You're still gonna have impact in the team fight. So it makes sense.
Yeah, and to tie back to Quinn's point earlier, nobody's unkillable when you play against Sven, and nobody's unkillable when you play against Sven Invoker. I feel like Spirit has all the damage in the world, and they're gonna have options to play this game out.
You know what I love the most, what you've brought up in the last couple of days in Senior, is having two heroes that can always be together to kill it off. And is that what you see a lot in Spirit's draft, that any combo of two heroes are going to find something successful for themselves to have that aggression, to be able to snowball in what feels like a new Spirit playstyle?
So in this game, like any two heroes, yes, but it's not any two heroes, because at all times there's an Underlord pit and there's a Sunstrike. Right. So even if you're only two, you're actually four. And that is a power in of itself. Supports are going to be very enabled to make moves.
Yeah, I love Spirit's draft this game. I think it's a step in the right direction. I was so impressed by the gameplay last game. I'm Spirit all the way. They're just too cool.
And Mira, very quickly, last one. You're also Spirit all the way. You loved their adjustments too?
Yeah, I love the draft. To me, it makes sense on paper, but Vision are a very strong team. They have the means to make a lot of early game moves, and they're going to have to be the ones to set the tempo here.
Well, the fun and the narrative of our Vision up against Spirit matchup here is the King up against the Prince. But we have our own King and Prince. It's Cap and SPG.
Thank you, Nat. That's right. There are some serious legends on the stage here. Some legends to be, in fact, in the case of Satanic. A matchup of Yatoro versus Satanic here at TI on the main stage in a Game 3. Who is the best carry, Avery?
The old gods versus the new. So much Dota knowledge between those two coaches as well. That was something I was looking at. This Game 3 draft, Puppy against Maposhka.
Yep.
what is that? 30 years of cumulative CIS Dota experience? It's absurd. That might be one of the most goated coach matchups we've ever seen on this stage. Think of how many TI finals those two coaches have been in alone.
Yep.
Let alone these 10 players. So I think this is the closest draft we've had of all 3 games. I think both teams are very happy with what they have. I don't think we're going to see an early GG out. I think these are 2 drafts that can scale really well, play the mid game, connect with some fast moves on the supports. A lot of stuns in this game, a lot of big hitters. This game has everything, Austin. It has everything.
Will it give us everything in the execution? That's the part that really strikes me for TI. Right throughout the year, we can talk about draft and mechanics and strategy and all these little things that make a team great in Dota 2. But TI, I feel like, is the one tournament, the only tournament perhaps, that truly tests mentality, right? That truly tests how tough you are inside of that booth. When the lights are absolutely the brightest that they can be, do you shrink under that or do you flourish? And Vision, in their case, how do you bounce back after a rough loss? Because we've already seen and we already know from game 1 to history in general that Team Spirit can bounce back after a rough loss. What is Vision going to do after that game 2?
Spirit's proven they can be clutch when those lights are the brightest. And it's up to Vision to prove that they can hang with the big dogs now in a very high-pressure Game 3 for a top 3 at this year's International. It's all on the line. You do not want to leave anything on the table here. Get into a laning phase that has some very interesting matchups. That first pick, SF for Satanic, trying to bully a melee hero. That Ember counter pick to the Invoker. There were other options in the pool, but I think they wanted something just more versatile for the game. See how much Laurel can find with these Sunstrikes as well. A lot of stuns in this laning phase for Spirit you might be able to connect on. And now you Toro Sven.
Ami getting low there. An early blood grenade thrown out and then a bit of a pressure thrown down so far. Team Spirit have not given up that first blood to a Shadow Fiend who can be an absolute menace in the laning phase. We've got the Ember Spirit versus the Invoker mid lane matchup. Rue? Maybe he's got Fairy Fire. He's got double Fairy Fire, in fact, yeah.
Satanic does get Hex Top with the Sunstrike.
Sunstrike and it lands on a Satanic. Can they finish him off? Not quite. Fairy Fires keep him alive. Well, not me. He doesn't have the same luxury. DeCall's going to hop to the other side. He'll claim the first blood, and maybe he gets away. Raises slowdown collapse. He can't finish the job.
Even with the Sunstrike connection, the extra wand charges plus the Fairy Fires. Satanic stunned, but he's not dead here. Gonna need another connection up top. That was the first blood that Spirit really wanted with this extra Sunstrike capability. So that's a big win for Vision. Can ferry out some extra regen, can stay alive up here, continue to CS with that Shadow Fiend soul advantage.
Is top lane where you feel like much of the laning phase is decided? It feels like the most volatile of all the lane matchups.
I think this lane has the most potential to be explosive for Vision. Okay, that's what happens when you pick Shadow Fiend against a melee hero. You either start just raising this hero down, you get to that level 3, you pump in the damage, you snowball completely with the extra Necromastery, or you get killed a couple times and it swings the other way. It's looking really solid for Satanic here early, though. You have the 3 CS leaders across the board as well. Ember did well on the early waves mid. Just what you would expect from a veteran in no one. And this Doom is going to return for Game 3. Doom has won every game in this series. Scary hero to give away when it's performed so well here. A bold move by Miposhka.
Okay, how do you address Doom, and what has Team Spirit done in this game to address it?
They have multiple carries. I think that's one thing. You don't want to end up in a 4-protect-1 where the Doom target's super straightforward.
Sure.
Underlord can create a gap against this hero where you get stuck in the pits later on. You can disengage and re-engage. Invoker can do the same thing. Wyvern can also just freeze the Doom on the Blinken and help create that gap. So they have a lot of mechanisms to reset the fight once the Doom goes out, hold Noticed in place, and then either just completely disengage or buy time for the Doom target to look for the second half of the fight. I think that's mainly what you're trying to do here. You can also just try and start things on your turn, jam in damage with Alacrity, Sven, blinking, stunning somebody, and just bulldozing through them. Very little BKB control in this Vision lineup for the Sven when Yatoro goes in, if he can get big.
Got him on the Bramble, blood grenade slowing him down. Notice Steve, though, he, maybe a misclick there? I think he went the wrong way around the trees. He popped Scorched Earth, but didn't really get anything for it. Fortunately, Dark Willow aggression never really going to get punished just because Zero has Shadow Realm to protect. get out if necessary. Rue's going to get a bit low. The Sunstrike's going to land, and Nightclass, it's baited in by Rue.
You have all these stuns, sometimes you don't need them. Just land a casual Sunstrike, help ruin that trade, some extra gold for the Invoker. These lanes are really going Vision's way in terms of just the straight up CS. So you gotta nab some extra kills here and there where you can, or at least maybe get some stacks up. That is something else we could see this top lane fall back on if the lane just becomes too overwhelming. Because right now, Satanic is taking control of the CS department.
I mean,
threatening
no one's
that
doing the
triple
same
raid.
in the mid lane. Laurel is 11-5, lowest CS of all the cores.
He's feeling the pressure right now. I think Spirit have had the slower start in lanes all 3 games.
Yes.
And they're not a team that's afraid of taking that route towards victory. They don't need to win lanes. They don't even need to win the early game. They probably don't need to win the mid game. They can probably start losing most of the late game. And if they find that one fight, that's all it takes. So you really have to be careful.
Hit laid down, trying to get Collapse away from the SF. Quick Hex, turn around, Blood Grenade.
Does have Lotus.
Ultimately, leaning in, trying to hit that Sunstrike. Not going to happen. Not me is going to die to the Raze.
Very volatile lane up here.
Yeah.
You're trying to bait with wand charges and all these Lotuses and Fairy Fires. Both teams are thinking about this Sunstrike a lot. The aggressive man-up from Satanic pays off here. And Yatoro, he's just getting his regen burned down here, even if he survives.
Well hit. It's going to be close call. Couldn't get through the Cold Embrace heal.
TP's
a bit
a lion.
too much. Not me. TP's in. What'd you make of the Lion pickup anyway? Not a hero that we see a whole lot of.
Definitely an outlier for this event. It was performing pretty well over the course of the year at various points, and then just fell off for this tournament in the last month in general. It is a good Sunstrike setup. It is a hero that historically has worked well for Spirit. Not necessarily this iteration, but just as a team concept. Always gives you that instant Hex potential, which is, again, if you're playing with confidence, if the other team is perhaps tilting a little nervous, Lion does take advantage of that. I think it could pose problems for the Ember in this game. Maybe the Doom on the Blinken, if you don't pre-BKB, which we've seen a lot of this event.
Yeah.
Things like this. This hero can make a huge impact from a low net worth position. Still a difficult hero to execute, though. So again, you're looking towards these Spirit supports to really mechanically play well, give us a performance like they did in Game 2, and then this support duo can really cause Vision some problems. If they just end up in some open skirmishes in jungle areas or get run over on the map by this Ember, they could become a liability pretty fast because they need some early items to really come online. I think both of these supports need a blink to really play the fights well.
I love that. Yatoro using the line. You're not panicking, are you? Well, Vision don't seem to be panicking in this laning phase. They are walking away with a 3 laning phase win. As you said, Team Spirit have never been a team very dependent on a laning phase.
This is a very big lane win, though, which is causing you a little concern. Mainly just how much the Sven is getting bullied bottom. I think Underlord getting bullied, whatever. Invoker's always going to lose some of the early CS. He'll make it up with some Sunstrike kills. Just Yatoro getting bullied. It's uncommon to lose your safe lane in this patch. We don't see it happen to a lot of teams and players when you have so many options at your disposal to just dominate the lane. So that's a big sacrifice to make. There is some payoff here with the Wyvern coming online later. It's giving a lot of room to this off-lane duo for Vision to maybe gain some momentum and snowball this game.
And I feel like that's only going to be compounded by the fact that Vision also have a more active mid, right? If you're already down off of lanes and then you get those first couple of rotations from the Ember Spirit, which the Invoker can't really match, it's going to be a problem.
Always the risk with playing against Ember if you don't cheese him out of the lane. In Game 1, he just got completely cheesed. None of that tempo came into play. In this one, he's going to have a lot more freedom to control the map, play off the power runes, make rotations that are not going to be matched. You really have to keep no one in check, keep him in the back of your mind, not overextend, and make sure you don't feed away some double, triple kill to this Ember in the first 15 minutes here.
Back to this bait in the bottom lane. Really need this line rotation to work.
The big committal down here. You're leaving that Underlord alone top, which has been a brutal lane for him.
Oh, and the ward's going to get dropped. They just immediately going to de-ward it. Not me. Spotted by that one. The Underlord Collapse is trying to pull waves, but okay, they say, all right, 2 can play that game. We can also try lane, try and catch Collapse, stop him from pulling at least.
I actually really dislike that TP from 9 class. Because this is not a lane the Underlord can enter no matter what.
Sure.
You can leave the SF up here solo and the Underlord can't enter. So if anything, you want to bring supports elsewhere in this game. And this is relieving pressure from the Sven, who was the one suffering the most.
Notice is tanky enough to survive, though. Double gauntlets and 2 bracers. He just raw HP is all it takes.
That is a tanky boy early on. They are going to be able to rotate these supports into mid, which is a great point of attack. Anytime you kill this Invoker early, he's just a sitting duck. Ember automatically gives you the gap close. It's a 6-minute power rune as well. So there's a lot to fight for here on the side of Vision.
Good use of the Forge Spirits to pull the creeps back. They will not be able to contest the power runes at all. A regen for an Ember Spirit. This is already starting fantastic for no one. Meanwhile,
a lot of time.
1 CS for Satanic.
He's just absolute free farm up there, which, you know, I don't know the exact stat for how often Vision win when Satanic has an empty lane, which is effectively what this bit has been, but it's got to be quite high. This is what Vision want. They want the attention around mid. They're 2 side laners to just free farm, scale, and let no one control the pace of the game. You're going to rotate the supports back top. They want this SF kill with the Sunstrike on top.
This would fix so much of the damage. They've got him in place. The Sunstrike's going to land. They surely have enough damage. They're going to stop the Requiem. That's good enough.
Wisdom Shrine is getting contested off this kill. That is the bigger prize. Spirit needed that early SF kill. However, they're going to sacrifice some experience to get the job done. Both shrines are going to go Vision's way here.
The level 6's supports on Vision going to be a whole lot faster than Team Spirit, that's for sure. Unless they can get more core pickoffs to cover that experience.
That was just that kill was almost more important for Collapse than it was shutting down the SF. The Thunderlord needed something out of this laning phase. That was a big boost. He's going to get to farm another wave, pulled his camp, kind of reset the wave. Satanic, he's got to think twice about stepping up here again if you don't know where these supports are lingering. Nice little rotation. And honestly, Spirit, they relieved a lot of the pressure in this laning phase that was going into the Sven too. With these Vision supports going top, Toro gets the farm bottom. These little things stabilize that game. This was a 2K lead for Vision a minute and a half ago. They weren't able to snowball it more. So the game's stabilizing for Spirit right now. Gotta, again, look towards the Ember, look towards the power runes. Try and connect something with no one here.
That class pops out underneath the tower, quickly Hex stunned, but they do not try and kill him, knowing that the Ember Spirit is going to be trying to run them down. Another power rune to work with. I mean, the Ember Spirit is just going to be the strongest hero in the game for quite some time if he's able to get every single power rune.
He's going to get every power rune. You're just not contesting 2 supports behind this guy with an Invoker and a Winter Wyvern. It's not happening. You're just hoping he doesn't get the early haste and amp damage, which he didn't. He got Regen Arcane. A little weaker here for sure. Blows. You do have Doom available.
Spirit jumps after Nami, caught him on the other side of the tower.
Easy pickoff. This is a very dangerous area for Spirit to linger in. I think you're either getting something done here or you are just defensively bailing Laurel out. But you don't want to just linger around the river against this Ember. It's a death sentence.
Yeah, he's basically playing Forge Spirit instead of his hero. His hero is always pretty far back, and he just keeps using the Forge Spirit to draw the aggro. Prevents too much tower damage being done.
Can also block the arrow off the chains combo, so he has a little defensive capability on his own.
You will certainly not have any sort of recovery. I mean, Vision have full control of the triangle in case there was stacks, but Spirit also haven't had the chance to make any stacks in the first place. Oh, that's gonna hurt.
A little short there.
One of being a flag bearer as well.
Spirit are getting some nice D-wards. That is giving you some extra gold here and limiting the damage Vision are inflicting with December.
Me pushed out past the tower, immediately punished. Now, the slowdown isn't enough for Satanic. They got him on the Bramble and the arrow, landed both of those abilities, and 9 class will return the tip back to Not Me.
December is starting to be a massive threat. This 10-minute power rune's gotta be a good one, unless it's the illusion spawn. It gets taken. Oh, man.
His first power rune of the game.
No one not happy about that. Again, you're looking for the haste and amp damage in the next 2 or 3 here. You really wanted those for the Ember. So the fact Laurel gets to steal one of those away is huge. Base for the Sven. Spirit just trying to defend right now.
How does this Sven versus SF matchup kind of go as the game moves along?
Sunstrike damage? Is it enough? So tanky.
Yeah, he just, man, full bracer build makes him too much for Team Spirit to handle, even with the extra Sunstrike damage.
Oh, Satanic.
Oh, if only they had a Sunstrike.
Yeah, they needed it.
They bottom, it would have made all the difference. Instead, Collapse almost dies.
They did get double support TP bottom. That's huge for Spirit. Limiting the aggression going through the Ember right now. 9 class finds a courier kill, but that's it.
Chase after Yatoro with the Moonlight Shadow kind of trailing him as he works his way through.
Oh, not me. Does he have enough here with Sunstrike? Sunstrike's back off cooldown level 4 in the X-Sword.
I think Mask of Madness has healed him up so much.
No shot now, that's for sure.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Meanwhile, Rue getting chased out of bottom. They do not want to let anybody linger behind this tier 1 tower and just absorb XP.
Playing around the neutrals, will be able to get the cold embrace. Actually, they're going to think about gating in. SF is coming through the gate, but he managed to get stopped by the Lion. But Underlord is not going through that gate to join what is a death sentence in this bottom lane.
Gonna have to concede some early fights here for your Spirit. Just try and find trades. Vision know it. They're getting real aggressive right now. Vessel is around the corner for no one, and that's when the presence around the map is going to pick up significantly. You bring SF into any of these engagements and let him convert on the objective. No one's going to want to defend these towers once Satanic shows up. You'd have to really preemptively smoke there to make it happen.
Yeah, you kind of gotta jump him first, kill him fast.
Yeah. And that's a lot of this Sven matchup. You mentioned the carry matchup in this game. Sven can absolutely deal with Shadow. You just jump BKB, God Strength. SF doesn't fight you, especially in this game with Alacrity on top. It's a huge carry differential. So you have to hit some nice timings here if you're Satanic to really get the most out of this matchup. Of course, SF's always going to scale. It can be a massive threat.
So he's going to have a number of timings early on when the Sven is still kind of building up. He'll have another time later on when he gets Butterfly against Sven, right?
Potentially Aegis in line with that, and you're going to maybe try and push. I just think Invoker, it's such a tough hero to play against. It's really hard to interact with early, and then he gives your carry so much extra boost in these late game matchups. Just the Alacrity, also the Sunstrike damage on top of initiations. He's a second primary damage dealer in himself. It's tough to initiate on the Invoker. It can be a real big thorn for Vision in this game 3. They are up 5k. So this laning stage did pan out for them quite nicely.
No surprise there. Notice is getting so much farm in this game. Like, it's no surprise that Satanic gets big. He kind of gets big no matter what happens in Vision's games. But the fact that their other two cores are keeping up with the Sven says a lot.
They have their early fighting items too. Drum done for the Doom. Spirit Vessel for no one, and that's kind of the signal to start getting more aggressive with this Ember Spirit. There's a 14-minute Wisdom Shrine. They're not really heading that direction. They're looking for the Sven bottom. The juiciest kill on the map right now is he's the fastest farming hero for Spirit.
Rue trying to run interference. He's going to break some of the smoke. See some of these heroes, Moonlight Shadow, they're going to chase after him. Manage to get the scan.
Get out.
Look at that.
Oh, he's running right in.
Right there on the other side. Hello. And goodbye, Yatoro. Matched by Satanic.
What a move there. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. They broke that gank and he still died because the execution from Vision was so on point.
Very sick play.
And what's your trade-off? Normally you're trying to get some sort of equivalent exchange. Underlord cannot push out deep top, which means it has to be around this mid lane. And that is just not a target you can kill in this game. Just way too tanky with the double bracer build-up. We've absolutely seen the strength of Doom in this series. Still eyeing Yatoro bottom. Vision going to try and continue to put some more pressure into this Sven, not let him push lanes out, not let him sit down here comfortably.
It'll be the Wyvern pick off of the deep ward that they have. Which Rue promptly pings out, not me. They brought Laurel. Joined in the mid lane, smoked him up, made a fast rotation up the top, but Satanic has already cleared this out. Had to read his way back next to this tier 2.
Gonna have to go deep for that kill.
So many of these ganks, time and time again, and it'll happen.
Immaculate map read. Spirit having a hard time finding a pressure point right now. Just gonna have to settle for some power hammering. Try and open up the map a little bit.
They got to. They're going to have this really awkward window where this Underlord Collapse isn't really much of a hero yet until you have that Aghanim Scepter, and it's still, you know, a solid 1,500 away.
Vici recovered pretty nicely here. Even without stacks, he got the job done. Closing in on that Ags will make a big difference in this game. You have a lot of global capability. It's going to make your net worth count for a lot more here, even from a behind position.
Paul's getting out of sight with Night Shadow. Might have been spotted there by the Forge Spirit. But another power rune, this time in amp damage.
Love this
Spirit just doing everything they can to dodge.
Yeah, that's the thing. You want to defend this mid tower. You also don't want to get caught in a bad fight right now against all the strength on no one. The bend don't break scenario for them.
Which is where Rue has to kind of come in clutch, right? He's playing behind these heroes all the time. He's kind of like some of the biggest threat that they have to be able to stop a Vision aggressive play.
Yes. There's a lot of defensive capability in the Spirit lineup if they're set up and ready for the play. You think you're just going to go on Laurel and kill him, and all of a sudden you get stuck in a pit, Firestorm, there's a Wyvern Curse, Sven TP's in, he's going to stun someone out of it. It's a lot of chain stun off of any sort of overextension. However, once again, Vision not forcing the issue into the mid Invoker. They're hunting the Yatoro Sven. They refuse to let him hit camps down here.
And even without the ward, which did get dealt with, they're still going to try and find heroes in this area. Rue kind of spotted Sven a little bit out of sight. Team Spirit are beginning to group up around this tier 2, thinking maybe this is an opportunity for a fast kill, and they've got it with the Sunstrike. Here comes 9 class, though. Trying to keep Rue alive. Throws down a Winter's Curse. Actually backs up and stunning the rest of his team, but it doesn't matter. Team Spirit, their defense, they parry Vision's aggression perfectly.
Nice map read from Yatoro. This time it's him knowing the gank is coming in, and Spirit just set up on it, and that's where that fight is dangerous. You do not want to overcommit around these towers into all of the muck that Spirit can propose. Which is where this game can feel a little awkward for Vision. You have all this strength. How were you able to use it in the last few minutes here? You lost net worthly. You're just watching Invoker recover off the Ancients. You're watching Sven recover off of some of these smaller jungle stacks. Weren't able to kick him out of bottom. The fact that Yatoro can sit down here is really important for Spirit right now if they want to give the Ancient priority to the Invoker. Only one of these cores can take those Ancient stacks. So you need the other core to be able to farm somewhere. And the Invoker cannot go anywhere on this map right now. So it has to be Yatoro finding farm deep on the side of the map. That's why Vision are hunting him down here. This is very efficient for Spirit in terms of the recovery.
And eventually the Invoker pays that back out to the Sven, right? He gets the Boots of Travel, BKB, then he's able to play out on the map with his Shard, with Ghost Walk, pushing waves, and then the Sven gets to farm the nicer parts of the map.
It'll switch at some point. And at that point, the threat on the map goes up a lot for Spirit with the gate global capability. For now, just kind of play through Yatoro. Does have Blink available, is level 13, he's strong. Gotta remember this Sven has the Sunstrike behind his initiation too. There's a lot of burst damage coming out off this jump. Vision just going to try and dodge this play right now. They're trying to just get to triple BKB in this game. It's going to take a little bit of time here. However, they get there. They're very strong with that timing. They can absolutely take a team fight into a Roshan.
Kind of a crazy backstab, especially the fact it's just the two of them. They don't have a tier 1 tower to play off. No heroes can TP in. Yatoro trying to get the initiation and he missed. A fast Shadow Realm from 9 class, and Yatoro is going to be stalled up. This is going to get real rough for him. Terrorize, push him away. Nice arrow. Beautiful stuff from Dekalis to combo with that one. A play call from Yatoro and Rue goes horrifically wrong. Vision are gifted into a fantastic fight.
So hard for either team to make aggressive plays in this game. Very quick reaction from 9 class. Completely kills this play attempt. And you're able to bring all your heroes into it. And guess what? Tormentor, 20 seconds. If Vision want to just man up for an objective here. They were in the area. Opting not to.
Now Vision back up to a 6,000 net worth lead.
Every kill is going to count for a lot when both these teams have so much lane push and farm capability. Maybe they get this mid tower. Really like to glyph this.
They refuse to give this up, jeez.
It's a very strong objective in this game with the Invoker and all your defensive capability. Can really bait Vision onto this objective and try and get some extra kills out of it.
Mid tower is also the one that controls that triangle, right?
For sure. See that Dark Realm come out just in time, and now all of a sudden if you're Yatoro, you're like, please get me out of here.
And That's going to be a problem for him. He may have the matchup against the SF, but you've got some very, very mobile heroes in the supports. The Dark Willow and the Marauder are both difficult to kill. Ember Spirit obviously highly mobile. Be difficult for Yotaro to find openings for fast kills like he wants.
Also just needs BKB to deal with a lot of the control here. The Brambles, the Moonlight Shadow, Doom's waiting for you. There's a lot you have to worry about right now.
That's not a problem for Satanic. Mask of Madness, Hurricane Pike, BKB. He's going to start working towards a Silver Edge. 13,000 net worth for him. Not me.
Is under attack.
It's a risk, isn't it? Is this a bait? Is there an opportunity here? He's waiting for some support to come by and he can impale, finger, Sunstrike, but instead, Vision are making a move. Finding Rue, who tries with the flight to find an opening, TP out, not going to happen.
It's a big smoke break. This was double BKB timing for Vision on the Ember and the SF, and they get the Wisdom Shrine on the other side with the line. So honestly, Spirit, they dodged that pretty successfully here. Oh, he's out of mana now. Oh, he's going to peek his head off.
Nope. Okay. Stun, TP.
Should be fine.
And doesn't happen.
Big space created. Dodging this BKB window for Vision, which only left them with, you get some deep wards out, and you're getting to the point in this game where you're going to start to threaten a Roche after any big 4-kill. Laurel trying to make a big play.
KB inside of this Aghanim Scepter, the combination of the Ice Wall and the pit. Just don't go anywhere. It doesn't matter. Before, in the laning phase, right? All that extra HP allowed him to survive through the burst, but that is not really a problem now. Team Spirit have ways to just hold you there and never really run out of damage.
Game's starting to feel a lot more comfortable for Laurel. We're going to see him impact the side lanes a lot more. It's been centered around mid. That mid tower died. He got a lot of time out of that. The farm Ancients, recover off of a rough lane. And now he's going to start to do Invoker things with that Ghost Walk. The map's going to become more difficult to play with this Meteor Sunstrike threat with a gate on top of it. That's what makes it extra deadly here for these otherwise survivable heroes. Might have to pop some BKBs just to be able to get the lanes out at some point in this game.
Panel said it's not just 1 or 2 heroes, it's potentially 3 or 4 with this global capability, something that they'll have the advantage for. Vision. What a crucial kill that would have been, catching a Toro on the TP.
Spirit are starting to outmaneuver them a little bit.
Is under attack.
Perhaps feeling like game 2, they're starting to flow.
Fortunately, Satanic is still the rock that is keeping that net worth solid for them. They're still holding on to a 5,000 net worth because he's just getting so much gold. Nobody is getting more gold than Satanic on the map, and that continues as he takes the tower.
Insane how much extra he gets compared to everybody else in this event. Every minute he gets left alone, it's a net worth advantage.
Just got the reads. He's able to play aggressively in the right parts of the map.
He has to execute well, though. If he dies in a random fight, it's going to be a massive blow.
Rue running into the Vision duo once again to call us in. No one searching for kills.
Time.
He's just trying to buy as much time as possible.
Toro kind of lingering around here. You don't have BKB, though.
What is he looking at?
Just looking for the next mid wave.
He can collect that because Vision going back up to do Roche.
I think it's just the correct call. Put an Aegis on this SF. Make sure all this net worth gets guaranteed use on the map. He's closing in on Daedalus as well. Sunstrike will not.
Nice job. That pulled Roshan outside of his default position to make sure there was no Sunstrike steal. Make sure it's a little bit more difficult for crazy Aegis steals.
Always got to worry about that. You're playing against Team Spirit here. They pick up a gem at the exact same time. So this is Vision signaling. We know how strong our SF is. We're going to take over the map in this time period.
Notice, runs right into the line. Now, there are 2 cores close by. The Sunstrike, it's not going to land. That is crucial, missing damage. The Spec still goes for it anyway, and he got him off the claim. No one pops the BKB with a Terrorize inside of these Brambles. These heroes are going to be held here for a while. To call us, especially now. Hero off of this one. They're going to Firestorm, try and fight, but Satanic is too much to handle. Forza trying to get Yotaro away.
Uphill miss.
High ground hits. They just keep on missing. Yotaro is out. Collapse is making a run for it now with the pit. It's going to hold back the rest of these heroes. Oh, Vision got a bit unlucky there.
I can't believe they couldn't capitalize on that more. A full duration arrow on Yotaro. SF hitting him. And he just walked it off. The armor doing a lot of work. for Yatoro right there.
And they got the kill. They got all these Vision heroes to one side of the map immediately. Yep. Laurel TP's up to the top lane, shoving that out. The support's pushing in mid. Team Spirit knows that this is one of those windows we can claw back another 1K net worth, maybe another 2K.
They're really playing the map well. You have so much extra advantage on this SF, and you're not pulling ahead in this game. You're not finding anything with this Ember Spirit. No one's running around with Gem now. It's going to give you some extra map control. Still looking for some kills of his own. 9 assists for that Ember, not a kill to his name. Would like some extra gold here.
TP, they actually want to defend this tier 2.
They're going to fight this?
Yandex quite alone.
It's really bold to go into the Aegis, though. You don't know where other heroes on the map are. You don't have God Strength.
Yeah, I think maybe the only reason they were even considering it was just because they know the BKB got used earlier.
That is true.
There was a real chance they could 100-0 Satanic twice. Especially with no real saves on the side of Vision. But Satanic, once again, great map read, backs out right before danger strikes.
I'm still worried for the SF in this game if ever gets jumped. There's no save in this lineup. One of the downsides of that Mirana pick, the offensive potential in the early game, maybe the ultra late Mirana scale, super nice, doesn't help the SF here. Other than, I guess, Moonlight Shadow maybe giving you a little more entry to the fight. If Satanic gets jumped and blown up in this game, it's going to happen very quickly. The fight can look very one-sided. Smoke right now for Spirit looking on mid. It's going to take...
Oh, he's fast with it. It won't save him, but that was an impressive bit of reaction time.
They're going to try and get more off this. They'll have God Strength running.
Are you willing to run into the SF, even in a 4 versus 5?
It's tricky. He already has Daedalus done, almost about to hit level 20.
Yeah, you could see Vision feel confident. They're not really heading for the hills. They're not running away. Saying, if Spirit run into us, we can take this fight.
Not me, got around it without the smoke break.
Interesting position to be in. He doesn't really have any wards he's working off of here.
Can't get out the SF.
Down, but yeah, his high ground vision on Satanic.
It's one of those moments. Are you bold enough to go for this play and make the call? It's just such a high-risk play. If it goes wrong, it's going to go so wrong while he has this Aegis for another minute. I don't think Spirit are too interested in trying to bring him down.
He's not just so alone here.
No, you can't gamble on it.
They'll poke at him, see what kind of response there is from Vision. Vision are going to show very soon. They were away, but now they're smoking straight into him. Collapse is going to be the first one jumped here. Winner's Curse, but BKB does go off from notice, and he's going to ensure they get multiple kills out of this. They'll finish off Collapse, and Rue, inside the cold embrace, stuck there long enough that the SF shows up. 2 fast kills for Vision, and off this Aegis, maybe can take some objectives as well. This tier 2 bottom right for the taking, but
for Laurel top,
yeah, Vision want to keep this going.
Really tough to catch Invoker in this game. 9 class is going to try and get it.
Hit him with a Bramble. Does land the Bramble with alongside the Curse Ground. Force down, pushing him away. Fast kill from Yatoro. He pops out with a damn damage. No God Strength needed.
See you later. That is some burst damage right there. No Vision finding kills across the map, using this Aegis to kind of bait Spirit into a fight.
Fast ward. D-ward can't get spotted by Laurel here. Otherwise, they'll know on the ward. They managed to get the Distiller on him, but Satanic's far enough away, they're not actually...
no stun setup there. You need a Yule's Mirana or something to make that kind of play. Aegis going to expire here. It was somewhat a successful Aegis period for Vision. Kind of a difficult one to use. You're not going to go high ground with it. You did get that tier 2.
Crazy to me how this SF is here. He's got high ground vision and he's playing around, of course. So, but it's still just kind of crazy to me that he is playing so far forward when the rest of his team is so far back.
You got to extract something off the map with how strong you are. Yeah. You can't just sit back and let Invoker Sven farm up in this game. They're not good matchups for you. They put this first pick SF in a little bit of a bind. He's not going to feel insanely comfortable scaling here on his own. It has to be a team effort as you go into that late game.
It was really surprising me they placed those double high ground wards. So it's like the most obvious D-ward spot.
They both
normally, when you do that, it's when you're so much control of the game, you're not leaving the enemy side of the map, right?
I agree. It's too bold for your position. If you're going to place those high ground wards, you need to stay on the side. You need to defend those wards. Instead, they conceded both of them. There's a gem running on this Invoker. And now you're flying blind for another 5 or 6 minutes here.
Right.
Which is deadly against lineups that operate off of single target jump burst.
You got a good scan. Ember Spirit's going to jump after it. Spots the Winter Wyvern. A great kill to start this fight out. Curse will not save
Moro
you.
got doomed.
And he got doomed. He got up to God's Strength first, and BKB, he'll go for the TP out.
Okay, he's gonna live.
Fine there. Everybody else, BKB, Laurel also TP.
The Nightfalls get him out of trouble.
The cores get out, the supports do not.
And that's the type of fight that Vision are looking for in terms of just sending the Ember on supports. He already has an Ags done. What are you going to do about that? You pretty much have to land some clutch Hex or something. If no one BKBs early, there's nothing you can really do about it. It's going to create a lot of space in the fight, break the formation early. You're going to get Vision on the Sven, and the second the Sven gets tagged, SF has free entry into the fight. You're not worried about getting jumped on Satanic. No one has a really important role in this game for Vision, maybe the most important on this Ember in terms of just setting the fight up, being a nuisance, giving Vision, letting Satanic have the confidence to go in. The other route is to put an Aegis on the SF and let him hit a building. And we'll see if it ever comes to that. AK gold lead now, starting to build a little bit here off the back of that as we approach the second Roshan in this game, a minute away. That's where losing some of those wards is going to cost Vision a bit. This next Roshan fight, you're not going to have the extra obs to place in the river. Spirit can take advantage of it. Vision counts so much for their lineup. Finding that jump, finding that big Wyvern Curse, not getting doomed on the right target. Not sure where Vision are right now. Just trying to ghost push the waves bottom, play off the map mid, try and break some more smokes here.
Light Shadow, but they do have the Sword Sentry combo mid. Vision, if they try and shortcut through, they'll be spotted, and they do get spotted trying to play for the power room.
Could see this ward here as well.
Yeah, they'll handle it.
Spirit also losing some of the vision in this game.
And considering the fact they're the ones trying to dodge, it becomes real spooky when you don't have too many wards out on the map.
At least Invoker can always go shove. Pretty hard to find this hero. Forward Spirits get the job done. He's going to show bottom just to try and bait some TPs. Nice little heads up play from Laurel. He's instantly out of there. Gem running on both of these mid heroes that are just untouchable right now. It's going to create a lot of pressure on the enemy team. Still, Yatoro climbing that chart. Almost level 25, has the Daedalus and the Harpoon. He's fat. He does a lot of burst damage with the Invoker backup. Whoever he jumps is just gone. Even if you doom him, he's still just got to sit there and cleave.
Not me. Straight up an arrow. Blinks back.
Did scout Yatoro.
Vision gets some information to work with. Roshan spawn time is here, so both teams are going to be playing for that Rosh, trying to get this map control in this area.
Long spawn.
And counting into the pit.
With Blink for Satanic, he's going to buy out going into this Rosh fight. Farmed all this gold for a reason.
Good time, yes. My internet.
Collapse is always on point with the voice lines.
All right, items coming up. Some additional utility from the Wyvern. We've got the Harpoon Daedalus for Yatoro, and he's level 23. He's getting closer and closer to that 25. We get the God Strength damage. Alongside, as we talked about, all these levels play to Wrath of God, his innate. The hero scales better than maybe he kind of ever has. Invoker looking at a Shiva's next. Got an Aether Lens build up for Not Me. BKB required for Collapse in this game. Vision, meanwhile, Satanic. Trying to go back for a Satanic, replace that Mask of Madness at some point. Notice is just fit, man. He's just full HP. He went all the bracers early. He's going an Aeon Disc, and he wants to go for a heart after that.
The game plan is let him tank some of the Sven hits. Right. Create some space for this SF. Because you got to remember, we talked earlier about this SF-Sven matchup. You have a butterfly timing. He skipped it entirely. This SF item build is really susceptible to the Sven jump. You have no defensive capability other than a really fast Hurricane Pike on that instant. It's only going to take 3 hits and you're just gone in this game. So he went Swift Blink. This is an insane amount of offensive potential for Satanic. And it requires the other 2 cores to set the fight up for him. Go on some targets, let the SF Swift Blink in, BKB, start hitting them. His damage is also going to be insane in this game. It's all about the jump. Who gets more information for their team early on? Who's able to set the control up? And this is one of those games where having instant stuns counts for a lot. That Lion, that pesky Lion, if you can find that clutch hex on a core that lets you jump at BKB first, it could be everything. You have to keep buybacks in mind as well. This is one of those games where you commit a lot on the initiations on the side of both teams. You have to keep the buybacks in mind. The second round of that fight can win you a Roshan, can win you some of these later team fights. Especially with how tanky two offlaners are.
We're making a move. Smoke up across the other side of the map. Vision. Are they going to get caught by this? The Ember Spirit might show. He's the one with the gem, too. They cannot afford for him to be jumped on here.
Very sneaky move. They're taking the long road around.
Light chain, so he kind of shows Team Spirit drop a very deep lane ward.
That's a great obs. But they're patient on this. It might pay off. The smoke is running out. They see 9 class not wanting to. They don't want to force the fight under the tier 2, jumping a hero that likely has buyback in this situation. Would not have ended well, so they give up their obs back through the gate.
There is a Tormentor on the other
side now. You're okay playing down here. How many wards do you have left to plan for the fight, though? They have no obs.
Toro feeling like Vision can't get here fast enough. They'll take that tier 1 tower, but they are going to be here soon. Already catching Not Me. An arrow to the knee, tries to deal with the ward. He's going to die. No one leaves him for more. Trying to get the BKB out of Yotoro, who harpoons pretty far away. He's going to blink. He really wants to hold his BKB intact.
Could be able to here. Actually, I don't know. Satanic, he's super fast. Yeah, you have the BKB now.
He's going to have the BKB TP. Yotoro, he's going to be spotted by the Doom, and now he's just caught
kill. Greedy there with the camps.
Yeah, no respect whatsoever for Vision potentially scouting him out here.
Maybe just underestimating how much they were going to commit for that kill. It's one of those instances you're thinking to yourself, there's no way they chased me to the corner of the map, right? Well, they did. And that SF is really fast with that Swift Blink. That's Roshan. Didn't even get the fight for it.
Yeah.
Every core pick off in this game is going to count for so much.
Look at Noah, pushed so far outside of the pit. He's making sure the Winter Wyvern can't get close. They even maybe getting a jump here on Laurel that forces his BKB. He's going to drop the Meteors onto the Dark Willow, hoping he gets a kill in return of that BKB unit.
Oh, what is happening in this pit?
Taking a Rue. They actually, Collapse are going in. Whoa, Collapse, Satanic Hurricane dude piked himself outside of the pit. If Roshan
can't kill it though.
But Collapse can't finish it off. He's going to get killed, and Roshan,
he got it.
He gets the steal. The massive pick up by the support. The man with the least net worth makes the biggest move.
What a snatch. Just when you thought there's no way Spirit do it again, they do it again. A sick read in that situation. It does cost them a couple more heroes, but well worth it to take an Aegis out of this SF's hands when Vision needed this to push the net worth advantage on top of Satanic and threaten that high ground. Now you miss that window, and you're left sitting in this game thinking, we want to go high ground, but can we go high ground without an Aegis? Yeah. Who's going to tank all these jumps? Who's going to go first against the Invoker, against the Sven, the Lion Hex, without a save? This is where not having that save for the SF really hurts you. Aegis is supposed to be your save.
Here comes the Chain's arrow. He's got to dodge this one, but he can't dodge the stun. Oh, Satanic wastes no time. BKB, amp damage, goes to work.
That is a big pickoff. Might be able to just run down the mid lane here.
Rue may have pulled off that great move, but Spirit are still crumbling in the bigger picture here.
Yeah, they're bleeding a lot of kills right now. They played that 10 to 20 minutes really well around the map. This 25 to 35 has been Vision's. Building a significant lead. Getting this SF to the big 25 talent. He really hurts with these raised connections. Some big crits, serrated Shiv on top, insane attack speed. 3,500 HP. He got Pendulum as well, so a little survivability here for this SF. If he does not die in the instant burst and he gets to swing back with the Satanic hits, you're going to be in big trouble.
There is so much burst with a Sven. And an Invoker. Hex turn back, not me. Nice two-man stun, but
no way to get out
still
here.
Be run down all the same.
Power of the Ember in this game. No one can just run its supports, make their life miserable. Nothing they can really do about it with so many remnants to play on. He's also almost level 25. It's going to be a big talent in this game. Vision are coming alive here towards the end of this big game. Yeah. Really putting the pressure on Spirit. I don't think we've seen 5 Spirit heroes alive in the last 5 minutes. You know, just always someone dead. Always someone getting forced off the map.
Oro loses his courier. Didn't have a satanic
heart right now
or anything, but there's the heart. Notice is getting bigger and bigger. He's able to play more and more of the front line. The bigger threat he is, because he's kind of like, I mean, this version of Doom, right? It's kind of similar to the Centaurs we see with the Shard. You ignore him, and he does double edge after double edge. In Doom's case, it's this Infernal Blade that has percentage-based damage.
It does a lot. If he just exists, he's killing you. He gets to doom you as well.
He's got that new 66 damage talent at level 20.
Juicy. I was just about to say, can you go higher on this period? Because surely that was second Roche, you got banner, right?
Yeah.
No, Rue got the banner too.
He got both?
He took both away. Just extra value on top of that Aegis snatch. That's insane he got both. Though I guess when everybody's cursed in that pit, you have some time to click everything, right? So you killed that banner play as well. Pretty nice here. First banner's not as strong. However, you'll take anything extra you can get here, down 15K.
Maybe we'd see a replay of that play at some point in time, because it was so sick.
And honestly, it could have gone better for Spirit if Vision were not very disciplined around the initial Gaiden from Collapse. Because if they just kill Roche there, I think there's a very high chance Collapse snatches it with his record.
They definitely did not panic.
No, they just said, okay, we'll leave Roche, we'll just kill you. You don't have the damage to finish it. It was a smart read of the situation as...
Light Shadow, they've got some entrances here. They can go after the Underlord if they want. BKB instantly going out. Rue trying to get away from this Ember Spirit, who just keeps hunting them down time and time again. Good force staff, gets him away from the arrow. Collapse also takes that one up, and no one has to give up on the support. He's been able to get these kills most of the time, thanks to the Aghanim Scepter. Not here.
The big bailout. You don't want to die near your base right here, given easy high ground. Sven did hit 25, by the way, and they did get Conjure Catalyst on the Invoker, so the damage is picking up. They're just parking this Doom on the front line. Aeon Disc, 4,000 HP Doom. This is not a target you can jump lightly if you are Team Spirit here. Gotta find a different angle, a different path into the fight.
Wrapping all the way around the
Night Class, no.
Night Class is gonna break this beautiful stuff. Instant Shadow Realm, instant Brambles, and now Spirit are in an awkward spot here. They're gonna use the gate to hold back Notice.
That's not the target though.
For the kill, but yeah, he's got that heart. He's so tanky, he's so hard to kill. Ember Spirit jumps right in, got him inside the pit. There goes the line, dealt with him rather easily. Satanic is having a free game right now with the Ghost Scepter onto the Sven. He's not hitting anything. He's gonna try. Oh, now he connects onto no one. Now he fights Satanic. A battle of the carries. Who's gonna win with the help of Oro? They get it. Yatoro once again.
There's the buy.
Whoa, the arrow. It's gonna land. Now here comes back Satanic. He's gonna get his revenge. He's gonna get the opportunity to kill Yatoro right back.
The buybacks are too powerful here, and the arrows from Ducal is debilitating Spirit at every turn.
And the buyback is not the same for Team Spirit because of the net worth advantage from Vision.
He doesn't have it.
Yatoro doesn't have it, not for 500 gold.
Even if you use it here, you don't have God Strength.
Yeah.
Not the same battle. Vision are going to get some base damage here. You're going to have to defend. You do have a great high ground defense lineup between the Underlord and the Invoker. You have a lot of outspam here. No BKB on Satanic, no buyback. If he somehow dies here.
And they slow this down enough. They minimize the losses.
They'll have Doom available.
Vision into going too deep.
Refresher on top of Laurel. He's going to buy out.
They drop the more. You definitely, they're looking for an opportunity to end the game. They want to see if they can get a fight going while the Sven is dead.
It's too hard to go super deep here, though.
They're going to go for him. SF in some trouble. Drops a meteor.
Great force staff.
Meteor, but the force staff got it completely out of there. Now the Doom's going to be dropped on Laurel. And Spirit thought they had a chance, but it was a total bait. And Vision, a massive opening now.
Go buy on this Invoker. 250 gold short.
But they could end the game potentially.
You got to go more here. You have the momentum. This game is flowing in your direction. You're getting a lot of economic damage.
Gate to the bounty runes to try and get buyback.
Heads up play.
Poker is so close.
He's 60 off.
And Vision, I think off of that, say, oh, the Sven is up and they went to get the bounty rune. That must mean that Laurel has buyback.
Yeah, you got it back there.
They respect it, but maybe they don't respect it. Maybe
well,
go back.
This is Butterfly. Surprise late Butterfly for Satanic, saying you don't have the evasion pierce on this Sven. I can take the man fight now. Buyback still not available. 20 gold for this Invoker. That's going to be 2 lanes. You have a tier 2 top. Vision are going to have to call it quits here. Up 20k with 2 lanes. They're feeling a lot more comfortable than they were before that team fight. And that's the power of buybacks in this game. They're a big deal for both teams because you have to just full send your initiation here between the Doom and the Sven.
Yeah, like SF died so casually in that last fight, but it was right. It didn't matter here too. It didn't matter. They just won it just purely through the power of net worth. You've got a 30,000 net worth SF twice.
And the only advantage you get as Spirit in all this is, okay, SF doesn't have buyback for 5 minutes. Vision can dodge for 5 minutes.
Sure.
There's gonna be a Roche spawn in that interval. That's the only downside for them here. It's a fast Roche, so you might have to fight this without the SF buy.
Is it even worth it? If you're gonna dodge for 5 minutes, well, that's you could dodge the Aegis time.
Yeah, you can give it away. It doesn't feel good to do though.
Put the ball in Spirit's court. Let them try and use that Aegis against you aggressively.
The thing is, you're missing 2 core buybacks. You bought the Ember as well. You give Aegis to them, they take some aggressive fight, and you die. It's also a spooky situation. However, Yatoro is going to take the time to try and farm towards that MKB, deal with the butterfly threat before he has to fight it heads-on without the evasion pierce. Not a bad idea here. That SF is incredibly scary right now. Full Wind Waker for Ducalis, by the way, quietly having himself a game here with the arrow lands, and now you get a save in this lineup, which is huge. There is no nullifier in this lineup right now. No way to deal with the 4 staffs, the Wind Wakers on the Shadow Fiend.
No, this team has all the same game plan because Notice has queued up a Wind Waker as well.
Spirit, they're hugging a high ground ward. You do not want to fight Spirit.
Fire. Underlord picks one up.
That's incredibly clutch at the right time.
If they think the Wind Waker is the be-all, end-all save and they don't have an answer because Sven's not going to get a nullifier, they might just be shocked to see the Collapse has picked one.
Spirit are all in, though. They have no buys available. They have a Wyvern buy, not really relevant at this point in the game. Their cores are just all in.
I mean, in some way.
They got to Laurel's buyback. He's going to hold it here.
Vision's pretty all in for this fight. They spot Laurel. Tornado trying to stop the initiation.
Look at 9 class.
Affected. They back away.
9 class in the back.
Sneaking in with the Moonlight Shadow.
What an angle.
Vision on him.
What a stun.
At the same time, they jump on the Lion. It's a masterpiece of initiation from Vision. Now Yatoro, a must-win fight.
He's not winning this.
Satanic.
He's not winning this.
The carries trying once again, but he pulls back in, but it's not going to work. It is just Satanic now. Collapse is holding this, try and get him with the pin. They're going to drop the meteor.
Big meteor.
Panic, but they can't handle him. This carry is too much.
There's another one.
First, he can't kill. Notice another meteor going to be dropped onto the Sunstrike. There's the Wind Waker. They get the save.
Ducal is gone.
Alive. A Tornado Laurel on the run, but they are done.
It's over.
Satanic is taking it. Satanic wins the fight. He is the #1, knocking out the other #1. You are not #1 anymore. You are just another casualty on Satanic's climb to the top. Vision's climb to top 3. Vision closing it out in just the most beautiful way. A perfect initiation. You couldn't ask for better.
And I think that's what defines this
Lost
team.
ng bata.
Their support duo
Grabe.
is so
Grabe
obnoxious to
tong
play against
na
on
to.
the map, in the team fights.
Grabe tong team
Always have
vision
some
na to,
weird
guys.
angle. 9 class. He's sitting on
Hirap
the high ground.
talunin
The jump
nito.
from Notice too, with
Ang
the
lalim
AoE
nung
stun,
ang lalim nung lineup nila. Lahat alam yung gagawin.
Beautiful initiation for December to just go in and wreck them.
Nakontra yung nakontra yung Sven.
Don't get a chance to play that fight nearly how they want to. Their lineup is super predicated on getting the jump.
Solid, solid.
They're not able to find it. They full sent it with all the item buyouts.
Alright guys. Ito na muna tayo. At 12 midnight na dito sa amin. Bawi ako bukas. So GG sa 400 na nanonood sa atin guys. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Oy TJ, what's up? What's up TJ? Kumusta?
Championship team here in the arena. You gotta play like that. You gotta play to win.
Anong balita TJ?
No one on the main stage ready for an interview.
No problem Kenneth, no problem. Shoutout sa lahat ng nanood dito sa atin. Thank you. Bye madam, thank you. Hindi ko na mako-cover yung huling series guys. Oo, ngayon lang, TJ. Tuwing TI lang. Pero, tignan natin kung ma-monetize natin ulit tong channel. Sana ma-monetize ulit. Yan, shoutout sa'yo, Cherub TV, kay Boss Adam. 6-7 prediction. Jetro, what's up? No problem, guys. No problem. GG. Bukas ulit. Good night. Bye-bye.